Here's Brady's pass. It's Gronkowski. Back again.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Looking. Third option. End zone. Gronkowski.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
There's the fake, there's the pass, and there's the catch for the touchdown. Antonio Brown.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Fournette, touchdown, Tampa Bay.
Have you downloaded the SicEm365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
And when the Super Bowl ended, the ball would be in the hands of Tom Brady.
I don't know why we ever think it won't.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, good afternoon. It's nice to be back in the studio, SicEm365 Radio. Craig has been here the whole time. Paul was in Florida with me for a short amount. And then this morning getting up, and the city of Tampa did a great job hosting the Super Bowl. And then Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, and Antonio Brown, and those others. The Bucs defense reminded me of the years back when they had Derek Brooks and company, and they were fantastic. And they got after Patrick Mahomes, and we will discuss that, hear from Bruce Arians, Leonard Fournette, who looked like who he was when he came out of LSU, and also a comment or two about Tom Brady. The open discussion of 254-339-1122. We'll hear from former Redskins Super Bowl MVP Joe Theismann on his thoughts of Tom Brady, on Patrick Mahomes and the game itself. Also today, Dylan Hunter, who committed to Baylor late last week from Yipsy Prep Academy in Michigan, will join us at 3:45. We'll have Emily Jones on the Elvis Andrus trade. And then also today at 5:30, Tom Flores, one of the newest members of Pro Football Hall of Fame. Drew Pearson is traveling at this particular time. We did everything we could. Couldn't work out, so Tom Flores, who's been on with us before, congratulations to him. We'll also get into Cameron Yo's coaching search and the Baylor men's basketball. We'll start with this because that is the biggest story of the day. They already had 3 games, guys, that were postponed because of what they made the decision last week. And now, and I said this on the show last week, I didn't feel good about the numbers that I was hearing. Now Texas Tech and both West Virginia games also are postponed as well.
Yeah, I think you're kind of running out of time to make up a lot of these too. And I think, I told you this on the phone earlier, Smokey, I think for sure that this is going to really kickstart the conversation, which should have already been going on, and I'm sure has, of is the conference tournament worth it this year? Baylor's got a 4-game lead over Texas right now, so they might as well, I mean, to me, get those games in, get whatever games in you can, maybe make up one of the West Virginia games and call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, I think the odds of completing an entire regular season are pretty much out the window at this point. I mean, I know you haven't played West Virginia either time now, so you want to probably play them at least once, but it stinks, man, and you did, reference it last week. I know you have more information than most, and I'm just thinking like, hey, they've already canceled 2. Hopefully if it's like anything else, any other timeline, then by this time, the next week, or right where we sit right now, they would, be in good shape. So I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know how widespread this is or if it's just the protocols or what. But, this is not great timing. And, I think it also does signify that some discussions need to be happening, if not already, on this conference tournament and whether or not it's really worth it for anybody.
I was told late last week, and then I got some more information about it over the weekend, but there were 3 players and maybe as many as 5 on contact tracing. And this thing that really is, it's not good because you're not playing, is they were playing at their best. Of course, they've been doing that since game 1. And so these are 5 games. Their lead is 3 over West Virginia. They're 6-3 in the conference, and 2 of those games you have with West Virginia, plus Texas Tech, plus at Oklahoma. So there's still an opening there. Although obviously West Virginia has room to make up, and you might end up in a way with a team that ends up 13-2 that wins the conference, and then everybody else might be, 13-5 or whatever. That's just the way it might end up. I don't know what they're going to do. We'll have Mac Rhodes tomorrow to discuss it more, but it sucks because they were playing at their best and just had that huge win against Texas and another win against a top 10 team, and now you hit the brakes.
Yeah, and, Mac Rhodes, or Scott Drew, actually, I should say, said last week when we were talking to him after the Texas win, that was a big win. That's the last time they played. Everybody was all excited about it, and it's just like anytime – it feels like in today's world you want to get excited about something, then you get you get bad news immediately afterwards. So everybody's all stoked after the UT win, and instead here they are, and they won't play for nearly 2 weeks as a result of it, and it's just really super unfortunate. So bad timing, but hopefully they can get it together.
Here's from Scotty B on 254-339-1122. We hope you light it up today on our text line and also the phone lines. We're going to have some openings here, opening to the show until Dylan Hunter joins at 3:45. We need West Virginia, this is from Scotty, to lose one more time, which could happen this week because they play in Lubbock against Texas Tech, and they also have Oklahoma in Morgantown. West Virginia is playing really well, obviously, because right now they're number 2 in the conference. So there you are with that. I don't know what to expect. That means you're not going to play Saturday. You're not playing against Oklahoma Wednesday. You didn't play Saturday, TCU, Oklahoma Wednesday, Texas Tech Saturday, and then back-to-back games next week against West Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, it's 10 days before the next game, the last game in this whole stretch was scheduled to be played. So you're looking at 2 and potentially 3 weeks off of playing.
Yeah, I saw some people commenting that Baylor's playing chess while everyone's playing checkers, as though they've planned this out so as they can somehow avoid playing some games. With the way they're kicking people's tails, that's what they would want to do at this point. But it's a fun thought for, I guess, West Virginia fans to have. And last week when we talked to Scott Drew, I didn't finish this thought. He was saying, we're just taking it day by day and just holding on and cherishing every time we get to play. And Yeah, those words ring louder now because, they had that chance to play Texas, and they haven't had a chance since.
All right, also the top 25 poll came out. This is interesting. Baylor and Gonzaga, Michigan, Ohio State, Villanova, in some semblance of the top 5, but number 1, 2, and 3 are Gonzaga, Baylor, and Michigan. Illinois, who Baylor beat, number 6. Texas Tech and Houston are 7 and 8, depending on which poll. Oklahoma, 12. Texas, 13. West Virginia, 14. Both polls. And then also Oklahoma State, 23rd in one poll, 22nd in another. But the story there, UCLA, Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, and Kansas, it's the first time since December the 18th of 1961. 60 years since all of them were not a part of the top 25.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
That's pretty insane, and also not hard to believe just because how consistently good they've all been. But, yeah, for them all not to have been out of there all at the same time, that's pretty crazy. And, yeah, it just shows you what a changing of the guard there sort of has been, at least this year in college basketball, though we've gotten more used to teams like Baylor or Houston even being up there kind of high in the rankings. But when you look around, like Alabama's nearly a top 10 team in the country. Missouri.
I saw them play Saturday. I was watching that game.
Yeah, Loyola, Chicago. Typically we only hear their name during tournament time. But, Rutgers is a top 25 team. So it's just kind of bizarre, but that's the landscape this year.
We'll take a couple of your calls. We'll hear again a couple of notes from last night. And by the way, we want to hear what was the difference last night? What was the difference last night in Tom Brady and the Buccaneers winning what is his 7th Super Bowl? I want you to try to stop for a second, and hopefully you have. This is ridiculous. Terry Bradshaw, Joe Montana. I mean, he's got 7 of them.
Well, you used to think 4 is a lot.
4 was the standard. That was Babe Ruth's 714 home runs until Aaron's 755. And it's insane. It's the 55th Super Bowl. He's won 1/8 of the Super Bowls, and he's been playing for a third of them. It's crazy, and I was there. I had great seats thanks to my great friend Eric Horton. It was unbelievable how the Bucs defense got after him. Let's take a stat, man. By the way, the only opponent that's beaten Baylor in basketball is coronavirus. Make up 2 to 3 conference games if you can. I don't think the tournament should be played. Take extra precautions before the tournament. Get everybody ready, healthy, and then get to the tournament. We'll take your calls in a minute. Craig, what was the difference in your opinion last night in that game against between the Buccaneers and Chiefs?
Buccaneers defense, for one, and I know there were some calls that were disputed and debatable, but ultimately I felt like the Bucs got in the Chiefs' heads. Like, the Chiefs' defense is normally flying around, they're talking S, they're in people's faces, and, instead, by halftime, Tyrann Mathieu can't even compose himself. He has a little run-in with Brady. He's yelling on the sidelines. They just seemed to be a team that was out of sorts, and that defense, they just looked like they quit out there. I mean, that was not the guys I typically see closing out a game. And, Patrick Mahomes did about all he seemingly could, but he was like Charlie Brewer back there and was running for his life. His receivers weren't catching passes. He had little to no help. I mean, quite frankly, Tyreek Hill and all his big weapons were non-factors.
They had 17 catches, Hill and Kelsey, but they had a couple of key drops, question about it in that game.
And I asked a lot of people we had on last week about Eric Fisher's absence. That's the biggest difference in the game because it allowed a very good Bucs defense to pin their ears back. And I'll tell you, I thought that Devin White and Levante David played as good of a game as any 2 linebackers could ever play. Levante David really made it hard for Travis Kelsey a lot of the time. And Devin White, I mean, he doesn't miss tackles.
He's a fantastic young player. He'll be the heir apparent to Levante David, who's playing at a great level. I personally was thrilled for Ndamukong Suh, who was a major factor in that game as well. Although Pierre-Paul and Shaquille Barrett were the ones doing most of the pressure. I was excited about him having a chance to win a ring, and also then, of course, Levante David as well. Now, Kurt Warner said, I know the popular opinion is the Chiefs lost because of the offensive line struggles. They weren't great, but no one expected them to be. My biggest takeaway is that about the play calls, designs, lack of quicks, lack of formations to attack 2-man, and struggles by Patrick Mahomes more than the offensive line. That's from a guy that won, of course, a Super Bowl and is in the Hall of Fame in Kurt Warner. Let's get to the calls and also more text. 254-339-1122. Armstrong, great to see that you're still alive. Your face and Rob Solin in studio with us as well today.
Hey, who coached Devin White in college?
Dave Aranda.
Yeah, he did.
We almost had Devin White right before the draft. We almost had him on, and something happened where he had to do some sort of promotion. And so obviously his agent said, no, you're going to go make some money.
Yeah,
and so I get that.
Yeah, don't pull a Texas and put out like the Sarkisian graphic like he won the Heisman. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But certainly I bet in recruiting pitches, Aranda can throw out a litany of guys. But, yeah, Devin White definitely needs to be in there.
Or the Penn State graphic from last week.
Wow, that was terrible.
Penn State's had a player in
awful.
every Super Bowl
I saw
except
that,
for five.
Except for five. Tiny little like ESPN does when they credit somebody, if they do.
Yeah.
Down at the bottom, Yahoo, Sic'em365, whatever.
Yeah. All right, Stephen in Virginia, you're on Sic'em365 Radio on the Impact Health Labs caller line. Hello, Stephen.
All right.
Oh, wait, no, that's my bad. It's been a week since I've done this. All right, sorry, Stephen. That's my bad. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. Got me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Thanks for the call, Stephen.
First, Smoak, I sent you that question for Joe Theismann.
I got it.
And then
I
wanted to talk about the Super Bowl and the Baylor men's basketball. And the thing I wanted to say about the Super Bowl is I saw a lot of people on Twitter and on social media claiming that this was somehow rigged for Tom Brady. And too many of y'all put your money on Kansas City for me to believe that y'all meant that, because those two things both can't be true in the same world. Second, the Chiefs lost this game by 22 points, and at least 3 touchdown receptions hit people in the hands or the face that should have been caught. I will say that those are the most unbelievable passes, and I sat there and I thought if he keeps throwing balls like that, he'll get picked off. Eventually he did. But if it hits you in the hands, and even in the face mask after it hits you in the hands, you got to catch that. So 3 touchdowns, that's the difference in the game, and that's how amazing that Pat Mahomes is. And Texas Tech better come back to that money that they paid Cliff Kingsbury when they fired him, because that's outrageous that they only won 7 games. But second, on the Baylor basketball, I called y'all a couple weeks ago, and I said, what do y'all think about these games being postponed, and how do you think this affects the Big 12 title picture? And at that moment, I think we all thought that, only the Texas game in conference play had really been canceled, and that we were going to have an opportunity to make that up. But now, Baylor will return to action on the 20th. They have 3 games scheduled before the proposed conference tournament on the 10th. In between February 20th, when they come back, and the conference tournament, it would be 17 days. They already have 3 scheduled. They have 9 games that they would have to make up. Mm-hmm. And the reason I want to emphasize this is I wasn't very happy with the way the Big Ten operated to make sure that Ohio State got in. But I'm going to tell you this right now, and I'm not a big fan of Bob Bowlesby. He backed TCU against the founding member institution of the Big 12. But Bob Bowlesby needs to take a page out of that Big Ten commissioner's book, and he needs to figure out how he's going to protect the 7 top 25 teams in this conference and make sure that one of them, or the cream of the crop, get an opportunity to win the national championship. I don't know how he has to do it. I don't know what games he has to cancel and reschedule. If you schedule one game with West Virginia and you lose that one and you lose to Oklahoma State, then does West Virginia say, well, we only have 3 losses and they have 2. We should have to play them. I don't know. But Bob Bowlesby needs to get out here and start defending these teams so we can make sure one of them is the rightful national champion. And I'll let y'all go.
Thank you for the call, Stephen. Also, I got your note about the Theismann restaurant, and I'll try to make sure we have time for that as well. We appreciate it. Thanks for your feedback. Tonight, one game, by the way, Kansas is at home against Oklahoma State. And West Virginia does play at Texas Tech tomorrow night. That will be interesting to see who wins that particular game.
Obviously not a must-win for Kansas tonight, but it'd be a nice thing for them to do it. They got to get out of a hole.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Mike Boynton as his team. I like him. I liked him when I saw him a couple of years. It was last year, I think it was, when they played really well against Baylor. I like what he's done there. And, of course, they're waiting to hear at some point an appeal about whether they're eligible to play in the NCAA tournament because of the NCAA infractions as well.
Well, I think he's right on people who want to fall solely on the, it's a bad officiating, and that's the reason why, or the NFL was pulling for Brady or whatever nonsense. Like that That's just loser talk. I mean, that's sore loser talk is what it is. I agree that there are times when officiating is poor, but that was not a game where it was decided by officiating last night. That was a game where the Buccaneers came in and just kicked the Chiefs' ass. That's what they did. They made more plays, they made better plays, and they played a full 4 quarters, whereas the Chiefs were just either distracted on the sideline or not able to protect Mahomes or maybe not calling that great of a game either, or dropping passes that hit people in the face mask that would have been touchdowns or big gains. And so the Chiefs have nobody to blame but themselves. That seemed like a team last night that came in a lot overconfident, and rightfully so. They've been beating the mess out of people. They're pretty hard to stop, but it was like they got hit in the mouth, and then they didn't know how to react to it. At least that was some of what I took away from it.
Chris Jones was a penalty. You can't do what he did. The jump off sides on a field goal that was made by Sic'Em. You gave him a new set of downs. You gave a team that was, had you on the ropes, a new set of downs.
Andy Reid made a mistake at the end of the second quarter, into the half, when he called his timeout when Tampa would kind of look like they'd throttled down a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like that Oklahoma-Baylor game when Bob Stoops did that. 254-339-1122.
Hey, don't shank punts. I mean, there's a lot of things
absolutely,
that were...
Yeah. T-Rex, you're the Impact Health Labs caller line on SicEm365 Radio.
Hey, guys. Hope you're having a good Monday. Answer your Super Bowl question, to be honest, I only caught a little bit of the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter, I was actually over at SMU watching the Baylor tennis team. Just smacking on our old friends from College Station. So shout out to them real quick for making beating A&M, because any day that we beat A&M is a great day. Our women also beat A&M in tennis on the same day. So any day you beat both teams of sheep lovers, it's an even better day. They're headed to the National Indoor Championship now, so good for them. So I caught the second half-ish or so. I saw all the tweets and everything about cheating. Here's my only thing I'll say about that. It's always rigged when you're losing. And what does the NFL have to gain in any form or fashion from rigging it for Tom Brady? I mean, cool, it looks great that he has all these Super Bowls, but Patrick Mahomes is also, the up-and-coming guy in the NFL. So, if you're ever going to put, the NBA has LeBron James. If you're ever going to put, somebody like that for the NFL, there's no reason to, do something that would prevent your guy from winning. And I think Patrick Mahomes is kind of going to be the new face of the NFL once Brady kind of eventually disappears. I mean, he's got to eventually retire. Maybe he's going to go win 3 more. Who knows? But I do think he proved a point. Maybe it wasn't Belichick. Maybe it was Tom Brady in New England. So that's a whole different talking point. By no means am I a Brady fan nor a Mahomes fan. I lived in Kansas City for 6 years, so I wanted the Chiefs to lose. Just so I could stick it in my fiance's face, who's from Kansas City. She got to celebrate last year. Granted, she doesn't even know what a football is, let alone what a Super Bowl is. So it was kind of fun to watch them lose just from my own personal matters. But there was no cheating. Congrats to Brady. Congrats to the Buccaneers. Any team that has a pirate ship in their stadium, they deserve to win. As for Baylor basketball, I'm going to have a hot take here, and maybe this is just me being emotional. But, I think it's very realistic for us to say we're not going to make up every single one of these games, just given how much time we have. I mean, maybe we cancel the Big 12 tournament, which I think in this year that's completely justified for multiple reasons. But let's say at the end of the day, end of the season, Baylor is undefeated, but we played 3 less games than the second place team. And we won, basically, you do the math, and maybe we had a 2-game lead. It's possible we lost those 3 games. Hopefully not. But it is possible that could have happened. So do we deserve to win the Big 12 because we had less chances to lose? That's something, I personally don't want an asterisk next to my championship trophy. As much as it's also, as great as it is to win a championship, and really the national championship is what really matters. But I think it's a little easier to win a Big 12 than it is a national championship for most, and I think a lot of people would agree with me there. I personally think that we need to play. I know there's a threshold on how many games you got to play, but if at the end of the season, if we won the conference simply because we played less games, I don't know if I can be happy about that.
Well, okay, T-Rex, thanks for the call on that. Let me. Thanks for the call on that. If you're 9-0 or 12-0 at the end of the year, or 11-1, and everyone else has 3, 4, or 5 losses, even though you have games you did not play, there is no asterisk. This is a men's basketball team that has never won a conference championship, a Big 12 championship. So if it's like, because they're 13-2 and everybody else played 18 games, but they have 5 losses, or we keep looking at how many games they have the Baylor has to lose. Everybody behind him is going to beat up on each other. Mm-hmm. Every one of them, even though some of them might pick off Baylor. So if they end up playing 3 or 4 games less, or 5 games less, but they have a 3 or 4 game lead, the hell with anybody putting an asterisk on it. And that's not playing like looking at something green and gold. That's just that's facts.
I don't think if Ohio State football had won the national title that they would be too worried about an asterisk.
No,
I think they would be promoting the hell out of that national title. And, hey, here's number 9, I guess it would have been for them. And, I mean, I get it, T-Rex. I'm seeing, like, West Virginia fans chattering about, well, it's not going to be real. Or a Texas Tech fan was in my mentions the other day about, well, this is going to be like the Big Ten with Ohio State. And my only response to that was, like, let's just see how it plays out. Well, since it's played out, there's been 3 more games canceled. Okay. I get it, but if I win the Big 12 for the first time and I played maybe 3 less games than somebody, but I'm undefeated in the Big 12 and I played like 10 or 11, that's a Big 12 championship. I don't care what anybody says.
West Virginia had 2 games postponed this year, TCU and Oklahoma State, and I'm sure at some point maybe they've even make those. I don't know. They had a game canceled. It's not like, and a lot of times it's not your own fault. A lot of times some of the games that have been canceled because other teams have canceled on you as well. But If they
got to stop acting like this is isolated to the team
only ones
that you're
that are going to put
mad
an
at.
asterisk are the teams that are behind you that should have won many more games.
I've seen it mentioned twice in my own mentions.
And
Texas Tech fan, West Virginia fan.
Well,
like, what does that tell you? Of course, they're going to be like that.
And I get it. If it came down to you're 9-0 and you have a team that's 15-3, yeah, okay, there's an argument there. In fact, 15-3 wins the conference. You know why? It's called half a game. If you have one more win than the team ahead of you, you're a half game up on them. If you have one more loss than the team ahead of you, then you're a half a game behind them. So 15-3 beats 9-0, by the way.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But I don't know if anyone's going to play 15, 16, 18 games.
I think we need to stop pretending sports-wise that coronavirus is an excuse for teams to not play. Like, it's going to happen.
You mean to tell me Jared Butler, Maceo Teague, Davion Mitchell, everybody, Scott, you mean to tell me they don't want to play because they're afraid of somebody when they're number 2 in the country and they've dominated everybody?
Right now, it's like, would Superman be afraid of the bank robber? No, he just goes and throws him through the window and they don't rob the bank. Like, they're playing really well. Why would you not want to play when you're playing your best basketball ever?
We've given that too much time.
It's
but I had to say that. But 15-3 and you're 9-0, there's some discussion there. Because you know what that would be if it was a baseball division? 15-3 would be the division champion. So let's just wait. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. But you hope they get in at least 3 or 4 more games. How they're going to do it, I don't have any idea. I don't know. But this is not just losing a game or 2. This is losing 5. 5. And one of them, or 2 of them, I think, are make-up games from games before that were either postponed or whatever, and I'm not sure whose fault that was.
Yeah, I mean, the timing sucks. It definitely does. You would love for them to go through and play all 18 games and have an 18-0 record or 17-1 or whatever the case may be, and there would be no argument. I just think that, in this situation, this is a good time to remind yourself to not worry about what everybody else thinks. I think we all worry entirely too much about what other people think, especially anonymous people on social media who are not going to really be listening to your side of the fence anyways. And so, yeah, okay, if it goes through the way that it has gone and, some dude in Morgantown or some dude in Lubbock are saying, oh, well, that's a tainted title. Well, guess what? If the shoe was on the other foot, I can guarantee you they would be celebrating that title like it was a regular title. So just, Baylor's got to just get healthy, and then we'll worry about where the chips may fall.
We'll have Dylan Hunter of Yipsy Prep Academy out of Michigan. He committed to Baylor last week. We'll finally get a chance to get him on today in about, like 20 minutes or so. His mother and his father were athletes at the University of Georgia. His father, by the way, who passed away when Dylan was a year old, also played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bryce Hunter's his father. His mom also played basketball at the University of Georgia, and a lot of his family, brothers, stepbrothers, have all been very, very active and have played places like Clemson, Wake Forest, UCF, Florida State, among others as well. He'll join us at 3:45.
Was that T-Rex that brought up Brady, I think? I was having a conversation last night with my sister and her boyfriend, and we were talking about how, Lisa, me and Daniel, we were talking about how it was far more enjoyable watching Tom Brady this time around than when he was a member of the Patriots. Like, this was the first time I could watch him go and win a Super Bowl and not respect it, because I respect whoever wins the Super Bowl. I mean, if you earn that, you earn that. But from a Tom Brady point of view, it's always been about the Patriots and Belichick and all that. And I was really happy to see him go and prove it himself. And yeah, he had a lot of great supporting cast members around him, but you got to give credit to Tampa for putting that together and doing it in an offseason. I mean, they put all that together. They drafted well previously, obviously, to have guys like Mike Evans and Devin White and those types, but they rolled the dice. You bring in Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski and Leonard Fournette and Tom Brady, and that might not mix very well. But guess what? Tom Brady, once again, it all mixed fine, and they're there, and they're now all Super Bowl champions as a result of it. So, I like that he can have a bit of his own touch on his legacy that's not always just going to be directly tied to the Patriots organization and Bill Belichick.
Well, in fact, let's go to the Leonard Fournette soundbite before we take a break, Armstrong. This is Leonard Fournette on Tom Brady's experience and kind of what he meant to this 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers football team.
I felt great, just knowing his resume and understand why he wins. All week he made us believe he was going to win. He was texting us 11 o'clock at night. We will win this game, and we believed in him. We believed in the play call and what the coaches was calling, and we just ran with it.
Pressure can do to you.
Well, and you could tell they were going to pop a run, too, early on. You could tell, whether it was Jones or Fournette, they were getting good yardage, and I just felt early, the first quarter, I was like, they're going to pop a run at some point, and they eventually did. I mean, they had a great game plan. They played really well, and, the Chiefs did not. They did not play that well.
All right, when we come back, we'll continue with more of Super Bowl 55 and Baylor basketball. Now, it will be 5 games before they play. What does all that really mean? Also, a note or two about Cameron Yo on the verge of hiring a new coach, but maybe an old name, and much more. 254-339-1122. This is SicEm365 Radio. All right, I don't know what you had for your Super Bowl get-togethers, whether it was just you by yourself or with family or whoever it was with, friends. But, okay, that's done, right? So now, what do you want? What do you want to eat yourself? What do you want to cook for the family? What do you want to have for yourself, whether it's steaks or brisket or seafood or pork or poultry or, in fact, much, much more? Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. The Bauer family, of course, has done an amazing job with that business. They have a full-time butcher shop and a full-time bakery. You walk in the door, and to the back left and in front of you is the butcher shop in the back corner. And they have poultry, pork, and then the meat display of something as simple as ground hamburger meat, to some prime rib, to bone-in ribeyes, to what you want, tri-tip or brisket. And then, of course, in the back right side to the corner, I guess you could say off to the right, is the bakery. Fresh baked bread every day, kolaches every morning, and other sweets, whether it's pies or cookies or much more, even slices of cake if that's what you want. Up and down, you'll have box goods, whether it's something to cook for dinner. It is simple as Hamburger Helper, or even if you want canned goods, they have that. And then chips, sauces, seasonings, and more. Waco Custom Marketplace, your hometown grocery store, right smack at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T has board-certified physician consultations, will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Fall in love with a new vehicle for less at Allen Samuels with incredible deals like a 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude Plus or Lux with $6,750 in values, or a 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo for $4,250 in values. There's a reason why Jeep has so many accolades. So come see for yourself and save at AllenSamuels.com. It's the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels, your friend in the car business. AllenSamuelsDCJ.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122. For your company's mass COVID testing, log on to impacthealthlabs.com.
SicEm365 Radio. Rob and Armstrong run the mothership. Paul and Craig, we're all back in studio for the first time. I have to tell you something about Tampa. They did an incredible job, as I mentioned, to start, but the way they clogged off downtown on the way back from anyone who was at the game, basically every single exit from when you're on 275 going to downtown was just beyond ridiculous. It was like it was a nightmare. You could not get downtown. And again, there could be security reasons. I know sometimes it's because there are police escorts to get people back to wherever various places people are staying. Oh my God.
It's too bad that
it never ended. I went to bed at 1:15 this morning. Now, I'm not complaining. I was at the Super Bowl. I saw Tom Brady win his 7th Super Bowl, but the game ended at like 10 o'clock Eastern. That's how bad it was. It was, oh my goodness, it was nauseating. But you know what? That's okay. If that's the worst part is the traffic after a game, that pretty much happens even here in Waco.
It's bad that there's traffic, and there's
24,000.
24,000 at the game when it could have been 80.
But 500,000 people usually come into town. I think it may be 150,000, whatever.
I did notice,
to just be a part of it.
I did notice Friday as I was driving out of downtown and leaving that it felt like the city of Tampa had decided to put the pandemic on pause for a little bit.
Certainly looked that way with the post-game pictures, that's for sure. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
but
I thought they did.
They have one of their cottage industries surely did not slow down. I'll tell you that.
Well, it never does. It never does.
It did not slow down.
On Dale Mabry.
I mean, those are the types of places probably you can drive by at 10 o'clock in the morning, and there's 6 cars in the parking lot.
Yep.
You know, so
we had to walk by a couple of them, or the 25 that are within about a block or so, a long block from the stadium.
Strip clubs we're talking about for those that aren't aware.
They were loud and clear. Let me tell you something. It was unbelievable. And we were trying to find who was trying to find us to take us back downtown, which, of course, we could have walked faster than what it took. It was your favorite place, Paul. Mons Venus was lit up.
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I haven't been there, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
That is the last place I would want to be anywhere close to as a strip club in this day and age. But hey, people, I guess, have to go.
You know what was amazing?
They just need that, I guess.
Did anything? I didn't see any of the scenes late because I didn't. Well, even though it was up, I didn't watch. Nothing burned. They
there was. I don't know about burning, but Nikki Lattarulo from local TV, she's a Chiefs fan, I guess, and so she was out there apparently. Saw a picture of her at the NFL Experience, which is another place I would not be within 10 feet of. But, hey, to each their own. But she posted a picture last night that I caught a glance at, and the streets looked like any typical Super Bowl after somebody wins,
especially when you're at home, right?
When the team's the home team. And so a lot of young kids out there just living it up and swinging on poles, and not at Mons Venus, but that was going on too. But out in the streets. And
oh, Lord.
So, yeah, there's just – it is what it is.
They had a fun time. I thought for the most part it was just mainly people just venting and excited.
I thought the NFL did a good job of getting everything in and done. I mean,
they played every game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
high school football in Texas had a full season with some games, yes, unfortunately, and even some good teams had to back out of it. College football had their national championship, and the NFL played every single game. I saw one of the guys who hosts, I know he's one of the hosts inside the stadium, 0.08% out of some that I believe he said some like 7,000 tests, like weekly or whatever it was. Like 0.08% came back positive. Now, I'll tell you this, the flight that I was on this morning that left just before 8 o'clock on Southwest, every seat was filled. Every one of them. So if I'm out anytime soon, you'll know why. But
I'm so glad to be sitting next to you today, by the way, because of what you just
spreader.
said.
Yeah, I'll be the contact tracing that shuts down the afternoon show. Robin Armstrong will be just fine.
Yeah.
All right.
But no, all
right.
There was only one place that we
Streaker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's play this.
Armstrong.
From Kevin Harlan last night on the Westwood One broadcast. Harlan's become famous for this. Like a lot of times they just shut down and go to break. But like the Black Cat with the Cowboys and the Giants, he did a great call with that.
Most guys might lose it or get condescending or like ruin, like let it shut down the broadcast. He never missed a beat.
Second down, 20, 5:03 to go. Someone has run on the field. Some guy with a bra. And now he's not being chased. He's running down the middle of the 40. Arms in the air in a victory salute. He's pulling down his pants. Put up your pants, my man. Pull up those pants. He's being chased to the 30. He breaks a tackle from a security guard. The 20, down the middle of the 10, the 5. He slides at the 1, and they converge on him at the goal line. Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man. And the players with hands on hips at the other end of the field are looking at him and shaking their head and saying, why, oh why, is this taking place in a Super Bowl?
Well, because...
Hey, Kevin, if you're going to run that far, get into the end zone. Don't slide at the 1. You got to score once you got on the field. Get into the end zone, my man.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I had the same thought. I was like, you stopped right before the goal line.
It's like you had the lead and the clock was running out, so we wanted to slide.
I have a theory on that.
That's from watching too many games, by the way, when people are doing that.
There was a second bigger guy who was going to be his touchdown vulture that he was going to let his buddy get in the one, and that guy just didn't make it.
How long is he going to be? Okay, so what happens to him? He obviously goes to the pokey. Okay.
Yeah, he went to jail. He paid a $500 bond and has already been released from custody.
All right.
He is apparently tied to some YouTube guy who does a lot of stunts. Like, that's a dime a dozen nowadays. But some guy named Vitaly something Russian, it sounds like. Apparently he's had run-ins like this before. So just a very needy, somebody who really needs attention is basically what we're looking at. And that's really any Super Bowl streaker, quite frankly, unless you're doing it for some major bet with your buddies to the side or something. It's all just attention-based. But he's already out.
Well, he's gonna lose a few $1,000s and get a lot of fame if that's what he wanted. That's what he's gonna get.
Well, he's gonna lose a lot of respect considering he was in there in a hot pink bikini and was running on the field before trying to pull more clothes off. But yeah, dude was in a hot pink bikini. And
he made a pretty good spin move though at about the 40.
To all advertise this stupid Vitaly, YouTube channel. But
all right, when we come back, he committed last week to Baylor, class of 2022. Dylan Hunter from Yipsy Prep Academy in Michigan. What a story he has. The lineage inside of his family is amazing when it comes to athletics. And he's next, Dylan Hunter on SicEm365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. How? Well, go to his website, PettyClinicLowT.com. You can contact them by contacting them through the website. You can also call the office and tell them, hey, I heard David Smoak talk about PettyClinicLowT.com, or I heard about PettyClinicLowT.com, or I've had people who've suggested to me that maybe some of what I deal with as I get older as a man could be a testosterone problem. You want to be the high-performance man you want to be, sleep better, stay focused, stop being lethargic, and, you're just running out of gas. It could be a testosterone problem. If you're having issues with sex drive or ED, it could be a testosterone problem, and Dr. Kent Petty can help you. This is what he'll do. You contact them. They'll get your blood work set up, and you go get the blood drawn. He'll look at the levels, and if your testosterone level is too low, Dr. Petty will put you in a program to increase your testosterone level so you can then slowly but surely and maybe even quickly become the high-performance man you want to be with all of what I mentioned before. It's that simple. Get your blood work. He will also test for your PSA and also cholesterol and things that are in your system that should be or shouldn't be. But the testosterone level as you get older can get lower. And he can help you become the high-performance man you want to be at PettyClinicLowT.com.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new Lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's time to be brutally honest with yourself. Look in the mirror or weigh yourself. Do you weigh as much, more, or less than you did before the holidays or a year ago? Why not start the year in better shape than how you ended it and create momentum for 2021 and help strip the negative vibes, tension, pressure, and extra pounds from the crazy of 2020? It's time right now to join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness. It's so much more than a gym, including world-class tennis courts, lessons available with pros, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, personal training to get you over the hump. I promise you'll look better and feel better than ever before. Just need to walk through the front door. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corp. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp, spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation, a tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So make this your best and healthiest year ever. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Engel at the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
4-star shooting guard and point guard Dylan Hunter from Yipsy Academy, Yipsy Prep Academy in Michigan, joins us on SicEm365 Radio late last week. He committed to Scott Drew and the Baylor Bears basketball team, and Dylan Hunter joins us. Paul, Catalina, Craig Smoak, David Smoak on SicEm365 Radio. Dylan, now that you have the decision, and first of all, thank you very much for joining us. You have the decision. You've made your commitment. Did it kind of help you? Did it a sense of relief that is over now and you can move on with just playing the game?
Oh, it's a lot of relief, man. Most players, they look at the game as if you have to play for coaches or play for college colleges. You have to play for fun. So now that's basically how my game is going now. I'm basically just back to playing as a kid, just committed with a sigh of relief that I know where I'm going.
What was it about Scott Drew and the Baylor coaching staff that put them over the mark for you?
It was a family. It felt like a family. They always treated me, not ever since they started recruiting me, they treated me like family. It was just Coach, especially Coach New. That's my guy right there, man. My G, man. He's just always been on me ever since he started recruiting me, just checking up on me almost every day, just making sure I'm straight. So that's what really felt like Baylor was where I need to be.
Was that the most important thing for you, Dylan? What were you looking for as far as the college you were going to attend?
Exactly that. I was just looking for somewhere that could just make it feel like home, like a home away from home. So just being able to feel that vibe from Baylor, it was very surreal.
Dylan, we have so many players, and it's about a lot of athletes who commit to Baylor for whatever reasons, but the men's basketball program as well, or Dave Aranda football, Kim Mulkey in basketball. We hear that a lot. What is it about Baylor then that makes it that way? You go to a lot of different places. What is it about them that makes so many student athletes say they feel like it's at home?
I'd say really the coaching staff. Like, I've been on about 2 Zoom calls with them. I haven't really seen the campus at all yet. We got to visit because of COVID, but the coaching staff, they treat each other with respect, so they all respect each other. Even when they all laughing with each other on the Zoom calls, talking to each other, it's just like, it's already a family there. So like, it feels like coming into there, it's just all good vibes. It's good coaching, good everything, just somewhere you want to be.
Based on the last couple of years, and now Scott Drew's been here a long time now, but do you really feel that like you're jumping into something that's about to be pretty big?
Oh yes, that's definitely what I feel like is what happened. We got guys coming in the class before me. I just thought I was about to build like a whole new dynasty. That's all I'm thinking. So I'm super ready to get going.
So, Dylan, when you talked to Scott Drew for the first time, were you like most people? You were like, "There's no way this dude's as happy as he sounds all the time." Did that cross your mind at all?
Definitely, man. You put it right on the dot, man. I was like, he was just real energetic. He came out with a lot of energy, just saying "du" all the time. He just came out just real loving. So I just hopped on with that, and I was just always smiling and laughing.
And the thing about it is that's really how he is.
Yeah,
like that never does change. You think that it would like drop off once the phone hangs up, but that's really how he is. So it's funny you caught that too.
Sounds real natural.
He is, no question. That's who he is. A lot of people think that's not who he is. That's believe me, we've covered him long enough in various amount of years. Yep. That's exactly who he is. They have an amazing group of guards right now, as you know, with what they're doing right now. Of course, they're suspended or postponing games because of COVID, but they have an amazing group of guards. How much, and have you ever played against any of them? I know the age is different there, but there's always the AAU competition. Have you ever played against any of them, and do you know any of the players at Baylor?
Oh, yeah, I'd say I know Davion. I played against him, not really no real game situation, but it was a one-on-one. I was back in my 9th grade year. I think he was just like a freshman in college. So I was playing him like after a workout. We worked out together. He just did me real dirty. Like I was a young kid hooping older kid, so he was like, we were playing King of Course. Every time I got on him, he just beat me. So I was like, he was real quick. He just got right past me and laid the ball up, dunked it. So I was like, man, nah, this is crazy. I gotta get right. That's what I said.
There was a time in your career, you were much younger, that you had an injury. You were diving for a loose ball, which says quite a bit about you, and you broke your wrist pretty badly. What was your mom's reaction, who was at the game at that moment? And also, how much, in a way, did that maybe help you focus on what you needed to do and get better at being as a basketball player?
Well, my mom's reaction, all I heard was screaming. She was just letting everybody know that, like, she was just trying to feel my pain. So, like, I was in a lot of pain. So she just, like, stayed by my side the whole time, made sure I was fine, made sure I was okay. And I'd say from that moment on, because I needed a little break from basketball. You know, I was playing a lot of basketball during the summer. So that made me actually sit back and realize, because I wanted to play every day when I was hurt. So it made me realize how much I had to love for the game. So I just be sitting in my room wishing I dribble with my left hand. It really helped with my left hand development too, because I'd be walking around the house dribbling, just doing that all day. So I said it definitely helped me. In the moment, I felt like I was just going through it.
It took a negative and made it a positive. You know, you can't use one arm and use the other one and add your skill set to it. We're talking to Dylan Hunter, Yipsy Prep Academy, with us, who's committed to Baylor on SicEm365 Radio.
All right, Dylan, for people who haven't seen you play, how would you describe your game?
I'm a real fluid guard. I say I can handle the ball real well. I'm a definitely distributor, point guard, a big guard. I can distribute, get everybody involved, and also go get mine, get a bucket. So that's just really how I play. I sit down on defense. I lock up. I talk a lot. I bring good energy to the game.
Is that one thing you notice watching Baylor? Is their energy levels?
Yes, definitely, especially in all the guards. You just see, especially on the defense and offensive end.
Yeah, see, a lot of young players, no matter men, women, or whatever sports, they look at the scores, the scoring, the points, or whatever, the opportunities to score points. But I love how you just mentioned that on the defensive end, because that's really what separates them as well. Now, you've got some lineage. Your mom played at Georgia. Your dad played at Georgia. Your father, in fact, was a member, is that right, of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a little bit?
Yes, he was.
So you also have brothers who have been, this is step brothers and or regular, you're part of your biological family, Clemson, Wake Forest, UCF, Florida State. I mean, everywhere around you, you had to kind of get better just because everyone around you was probably pretty good, and they were your older brothers. What were those days like?
Oh, man, it was crazy, especially in the household. And they'll just beat me down, man. Like, I was a youngin', so they would just, especially in the one-on-one game, they would just try to abuse me, especially like middle school years. They try to abuse me, tell me to get stronger and all of that. So I just used that fuel to the fire, and I just kept working and just stayed down, just put my head down and worked. And when I got older, now they see me. Now they know what's going on.
Does that make it?
Know what's going on.
Does that make it easier to play? Like, will you step in when you're playing against people who are more experienced than you because that was essentially your whole life?
Definitely. I said, especially playing my older brother Chase. He just, especially man, my 9th grade year when he was a senior, he just used all his strength against me. And so now I'm just used to everybody trying to bump me, trying to like play aggressive. It's natural now.
Yeah, Chase played basketball at Clemson. A brother played at Western Kentucky. A stepbrother that played at Florida State. Let's see, another Wake Forest and UCF. All right, now your mom told me that she knows when she's not happy with you, when you have not been staying in touch with her. Can you try to describe what those phone conversations were like, or are like, and are you smiling right now because I just brought that up?
Yeah, I'm definitely not. She says every time she calls on the phone, she'd be like, "Well, you don't never call me," or she'd be like, she always tried to say something different. She was like, "Dylan, no, you don't ever want to call me." So I just started laughing. I just like, "Wow, yes, I do." And she want to talk to me 24/7, all day, every day. So I just love it, though. It just puts a smile on my face.
Did the Buccaneers winning last night mean anything extra to you because your father played with them?
Actually, it didn't really settle in till my brother said it on the phone. Like, he was like, Pops really played for them. So it was like, wow, they actually won the championship. And it just made me realize how much of a GOAT Tom Brady is. So, yeah, it just hit me.
On your Twitter feed, you have R.I.P. Pops. I know you lost your father when you were very, very young. How much of his memory do you try to stick with every day that you do whatever you do?
I just try to keep going because I know, like, he will want me to, like, especially my mom, and just see how hard she works. So I just know he'll want me to stay strong for her and just make it good for our family. So he could, like, I just know he's up there proud of me. But that just really, like, hits me hard. Like, yeah, I'm actually doing well for myself. So it's just really a really good thing.
Ryan Lewis, your stepfather, has been amazing in your life. Your mom told me about what he's meant to you as well when you were probably, 3 or 4 years old. How much does he keep up with what you're doing? Not just keep up with you. Obviously, he does. How much of an influence has Ryan had in your life?
Oh, he got a huge impact. He really helped me understand basketball on, like, a mental level. And that, like, because when I was a young kid, he would just tell me, like, man, you got to get that mental right, get your mental right. So he just helped me understand, like, it's two parts. It's the physical and mental part of the game. And so you're gonna grind and get your physical part right, just like everybody else. But you got to have a different mentality up top. So he just really put that into me at a young age. And so that made me feel like now I'm starting to come into my own. I started to feel like about myself. So he just told me, keep going. He started me out really with his basketball stuff. So I appreciate him a lot for that.
Yeah, I know that he's very proud of you. You were kind of a late bloomer. You and plus the wrist injury, I'm sure that probably set you back a little bit. How much of a late bloomer as far as your height was your shoe size? Did it pop from a 9 or a 10 to maybe a 12 or something like that? Did you have that kind of growth spurt?
No, I didn't really have no big shoe size, but I did have a good height. I went from about like 5'9", 5'10" my 8th grade year. So after this one, I broke my wrist. So that year, I went from like 5'9" to like 6'1".
Wow.
And so 6'1", 6 foot. And so I just started playing. I was a long, lanky kid. And I just got certain opportunities handed to me that I just needed to attack. So definitely when I started to bloom and blossom and started to get offers and just talking with other coaches, that's really when I started feeling like, oh, I can really do this with basketball.
Last question, Dylan, is how much bragging rights do you have as you watch what Baylor's doing with other guys you play with or play against that are also big-time talents?
Oh, I got a lot of bracket rights. They hate it. They hate it, man. Like, I can't say nothing about Baylor. Man, I can't say nothing about Baylor. We just on the road. That's why I love you, man. I'm just happy all around with the school and the program, coach staff. They got what they need, man.
Well, congratulations. We appreciate you for being a part of the show. I know you got a busy schedule. We appreciate everything that we learned about you. We'll learn more. Continued luck the rest of the way, and thanks for your time.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Dylan Hunter from Ypsi Prep Academy in Michigan. 6'4" guard. He's a point guard. He can shoot it. He can obviously get better at doing that as well. Top, depending on who you talk to, top 75, top 50, top 25.
Yeah, he's kind of in that in a couple of the different rankings I saw, 50-ish, right about there. Maybe just outside, maybe just inside. But I definitely love that, he mentioned defense. It wasn't just, I can shoot well or I can score. And, for maybe a stretch that was probably what guys would mention most, but with Baylor and their style of play, defense is something you got to have, right? I mean, and you can't ever have enough of it, and that's why they are as good as they are. Yes, they can shoot the three really well. Yes, they have immense talents all over the court, but defense is what really has brought them, I think, as far along as they have been, in conjunction with what they can do offensively as well, and just how deep they are. But yeah, I mean, if you're a big-time recruit right now, why not Baylor? I mean, if you're looking at them, number 2 team in the country, unbeaten, they have several NBA players on this roster. I mean, they're going to have some of these guys go off and play in the league. So, they're a very interesting and exciting program right now, and good that he's going to join the fold.
His late father, Bryce Hunter, played at, as I mentioned, Georgia, played with the Buccaneers. His mom, she was a heck of a player for Georgia as well, Brandy, and then his stepfather, Ryan Lewis, as well. Thanks for his time.
I always love hearing the stepfather, having a hand as well. It's always great to just, to hear of all the helping hands for these young men and women as they're coming up, so that's great.
When we come back, Emily Jones, I don't know of any reporter who probably has been crushed more by a player she covers being traded than Elvis Andrus' trade over the weekend, and her text or tweet that mentioned what it was like for her. Next on SicEm365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, come by, let's be friends. Where that is Loop 340 and east of 84 in Waco. Alan Samuels has discounts and also incentives on basically everything they have in their not only just inside the dealership where they have some of the showroom cars, but also on their dealership that's loaded with cars after cars and SUVs. And don't forget the Motor Trend Truck of the Year, the Ram truck. Back-to-back years. There are Dodge, there are Chryslers, there are also, if you want, when it comes to Alan Sam, the Ram trucks. I've mentioned that before. And by the way, they have minivans with discounts that are great as well. And, I think about a minivan. I remember my mom one time had a minivan, and I was like, man, these things have become absolutely almost as luxurious as SUVs and the pickup truck Fiat. Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
Car has the trucks, man, they have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man, he has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, bod pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change. Your change.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It's a new year. Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Hi, this is David Smoak, including what you'll need to watch the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl. Ribs, sausage, links, brisket, chicken wings, bags of various snacks, and customized appetizer trays. Don't forget to order something now for the perfect home-cooked Valentine's Day dinner, which is closer than you think, including combo packs with ribeyes, fillets, and lobster tails. Live crawfish season is just around the corner. Absolutely the right time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Waco Custom Marketplace, your family meat market, butcher shop and bakery with everything baked fresh with old-fashioned farmers market atmosphere. Serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Hard ground ball, shortstop, sliding stop Elvis. Throw to first, in time.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Joe Theismann will join us at 4:30 on Super Bowl 55. Tom Brady and the standard that he sets and continues to reset over his lifetime in the NFL. And also Tom Flores, one of the newest members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame at 5:30. Drew Pearson's flying back from Atlanta to Dallas right now and will be available to us when his schedule opens up. I'm so thrilled for Drew Pearson as well. And then there's a tweet on Saturday afternoon about 3:19. On Emily Jones McCoy's Twitter handle. This must be what it feels like when your kid goes off to college. And it was after the announcement the Rangers were trading one of the favorite players ever in Elvis Andrus. Emily, how are you doing 2 days later?
Well, I'm doing okay. I've had multiple conversations with Elvis. And
well, I have to reconnect.
Yep, sorry about that. Okay, there you go. I'm sorry. We lost you there for some. You were mentioning you had multiple conversations with Elvis. Okay.
Yeah. So I've talked to him a number of times over the last couple of days, and so he's made me feel better. He seems to be in a really good headspace and is excited about, kind of a fresh start for him and is anxious to prove that he's still got something left in there.
Emily, because he wasn't going to start, is that why he's probably in a good headspace? They had moved on from him, and he was going to have, if he'd been with the team, it would have been a very strange role for him.
Yeah, it's just not something he's ever done in his career. And so I think that's why he was more open to it. I think he was surprised at the timing of it and the fact that, that it happened just in general. But, he had his 10-5 option, so he could have, denied a trade if he did not want to go somewhere. And so ultimately he kind of felt like he did have some say in the decision. But yeah, it was going to be a very different role for him. And I think it was one that was going to take some serious adjusting just because of the role that he's had within this organization since he got here.
Emily, where would you say this team is right now as we start to look forward towards the season? I mean, now, there was at least the fan favorites like an Elvis, and I know there's still some fan favorites around, but that World Series era, I mean, they're completely gone now off of this roster. Where are the Rangers as they head into 2021?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they've been pretty open about it. The fact that they are in a rebuilding mode, they want to see what these young guys have so they can figure out what they've got going forward. The timing of it with the new stadium is kind of weird and different because they want to pack that place in the event that they can pack the place at some point in time, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think they're just, they want to see what they have within this organization and then identify those pieces and then build around them.
So, you have this unique way of doing what you do and an amazing way that you cover the Rangers. And I know that now you've seen Adrian Beltre and Elvis Andrus both, who are some of my, I mean, I got to tell you, I love their interaction all the time, but you're there every day. What's it like to watch him move on?
It's hard. I mean, it's you get, and you're not supposed to as a journalist. And I think that, I don't even consider myself really a journalist anymore. But when I first started covering the team, I was working for Fox Sports Southwest. So I was in more of a neutral role. But once I transitioned to working for the organization, and it started before I started working for the organization, and I've always believed throughout my career for 20 plus years that developing relationships was important. It was important to the job that I did. It was important to the people that I served as far as our viewers and different things like that. And so where people would really shy away from those emotional connections or really frown upon them, I embraced them. And that wasn't very well received all the time in my career, but it was something that I was very passionate about, and it was very important to me. And so you get emotionally attached to these guys and their families. And Adrian's like a brother to me. His family treated me and my family like we were family. Same way with Elvis. Elvis was like my first baseball child. I mean, he is. I've known him for 12 years, and we had a very special relationship. And I've watched him, kind of grow up right before our eyes. Now he's a father and a husband, and he's always been a wonderful, champion in the community, especially with children. And so I'm super proud of him, just for the man that he's become. But it is obviously hard to know that he'll be playing somewhere else.
For the fan base, you think about the last, 5-6 years or so when Michael Young retires and Adrian Beltre retires, and then now Elvis Andrus is shipped off to the A's. I would think, Emily, that it's going to be hard for them to find their new North Star as a player this year. It's going to be weird in this. Do you think it'll be a weird vibe around it for a little while, fan wise?
Yeah, and I not even just fan wise, but clubhouse wise too. And I asked that, pardon me, of Chris Woodward. How this team's got to kind of really has to find a new identity, and not just saying that there has to be one person, but you kind of have that face of the franchise that is. Varies from time period to time period, but I think you would think a guy like Joey Gallo, but until Joey's able to produce consistently on the field, I don't think that's going to happen. So you do, and you don't know who will emerge. When Josh Young gets up here, I feel like he's a prime candidate. The maturity on that kid is off the charts. Leadership, he's got all the things. But as you guys know, sports is a results-oriented business, and if you're not producing, it's hard to be that leader. It's hard to be that guy, and so that's a big question mark, obviously, right now.
Emily, they bring on the Rangers killer, Chris Davis, and obviously he hasn't been quite the same as of late. Had that bad collision in the outfield a while back, and I know that was a payroll move for the A's, but what are your thoughts on, Chris Davis, somebody used to wince at as a Rangers fan when he'd come up to the plate, now being a member of the team?
Yeah, he crushed us. On a very regular basis. I think it's like him or Kyle Seager. I don't know which one, crushed us more, but I'm excited about the opportunity to get to know him and to watch him play. It's not like he had, last year was just such a strange year overall.
Right.
And so I feel like, you can't really take too much from, I don't think you can throw it out completely, but I don't think you can take just a whole lot as if we were playing in a normal 162 season. So I'm excited about getting to, to watch him play. And I'm hoping that, what he did against us, he'll be able to do for us.
Is that the Vlad Guerrero thought? Because Vlad Guerrero, before he came there.
Yeah. And he crushed for us. So yeah. So you hope that that's the same with Chris. But yeah, Vladdy was another one of those guys that just, God, he lit us up. And so, if Chris can pull a Vladdy, I'm all in.
Emily, you've done a good job of explaining, how much your personal friendship with Elvis has meant to you and your family. What do you think Elvis meant to the city of Arlington, to the DFW area, and to the Rangers organization for the fan base?
Well, he played the game with such joy. He plays the game with such joy. He always has that big smile. And the thing about Elvis is he was always, the highs were never too high and the lows were never too low. He was pretty consistent in every aspect of his game. And so I appreciate that about him. I think the fans appreciated that about him. Community wise, he has been so involved with the children's organizations and had a huge soft spot for kids. And I remember, over the years, we do these hospital visits at Christmas time. And, a lot of times when you go with guys, they get really nervous, and that it's a tough situation. These are sick kids. And if you don't have children yourself, you kind of don't really know how to talk to kids. That was not the case with Elvis. I mean, he could carry on a conversation with anyone. He made the room light up. He made those kids, forget for just a few brief moments that, they were stuck in a hospital. And so that's something I've always admired about him, is his huge heart, especially when it comes to kids, and his ability to relate to them even before he had his own.
I can tell you this about Elvis, and you obviously know this for a fact, and you built that friendship, relationship, and trust between the two of you. When I'd go to Rangers training camp, which I haven't been the last couple of years, but when I would go, I would always say, okay, here are the 3 or 4 guys. John Blake would help me out. We'd do our radio show from the broadcast booth somewhere. But I always knew I could go in the locker room, no matter how loud it was or who was in there, personality, clicks, or what, and I could have my conversation for 8 to 10 minutes with Elvis Andrus. Is that another way to summarize the kind of guy that he was?
Yeah, for sure. And I'll tell you, and I think he would tell you the same thing. I think he got a lot of that from Michael. I think he's always been, my goodness, Elvis could talk to anybody, but the way he approached dealings with the media, I think he modeled a lot after the way Michael was. Michael, when I first started covering the Rangers, it was 2005, and we were brutal. And Michael was always at his locker before and after every game, and was willing to answer any questions. And so I think that he saw that in Michael, and I think he admired that in him, and really tried to be the same way.
Personality wise, also, I don't know if you could have picked 2 guys. I mean, in free agency in baseball, makes it hard to probably keep long-standing friendships or whatever, but 2 guys more matched to be buddies than Beltre and Elvis Andrus. We would watch them in spring training, and the amount of fun they would have just in infield practice didn't seem just natural.
Yeah, I mean, those 2, and it was so organic. You know what I mean? None of it was forced or it just happened so naturally with them, and it happened so quickly that their wives became such good friends, and their families. And so, yeah, the way that they were on the field was the way that they were in the clubhouse and at the team hotel and on the bus and on the plane. That's the way they were all the time.
They were so competitive, too, not only in a fun-loving way, but believe me, they gave the other person hell on pop-ups, ground balls, whatever it might be. Emily, also another loss in baseball, and I saw you say a couple of words about Pedro Gomez, who just suddenly passed away yesterday, and, of course, everyone that covers baseball and sports are shocked over his loss as well. Did you ever have a chance to interact with Pedro much?
Oh, yeah, a ton. So when ESPN, we'd have, especially when we were on those good playoff teams, in ESPN, we'd have a dual broadcast, which means it was on ESPN, but it was also on Fox Sports Southwest. And so I shared a camera well with him many times. And it's just all the stories and anecdotes you hear about him are absolutely true. He was just a kind, happy person, anybody who needed looking out for. And he really was. He was such a great individual and such a talented such a talented baseball man. I mean, he knew the game, and he just was so well respected, and I just have nothing but fantastic things to say about him. And it's a crushing loss for the baseball community for sure.
Emily, thanks for your time. Thank you for
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. That's Emily Jones, Rangers Broadcast Television. She does an amazing job. She really, really does. And that picture of what you put up of her and Elvis, I mean, I just know that hit her hard.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they were thick as thieves. I mean, she was the media Beltray for him, like, in a way. What he was on the field with Adrian, he was like that with her off the field, playing around, having fun with the coolers after a big win, that kind of deal. All that's over. Like, there's a whole era of Rangers baseball that's now over. I mean, it's
been
done.
gutted.
There's no remaining pieces because Joey Gallo wasn't a part of those teams, and nobody else on this roster was either. And so, I asked that question early on about where are the Rangers, kind of knowing the answer, but just wanted to hear from her. And, she didn't come on today to try to pump up the excitement for the season, but man, somebody's going to need to, because, now you get rid of Elvis, and I don't know how much just his fun and his joy for baseball was really going to carry Rangers fans through another season where they're probably going to be 500 at best or whatever.
Especially if he played only a little bit.
Yeah. And so, it was a move where you got what you could get for him while you could get it, and I get that move. But it is, kind of sad to see, and it's sad that those guys, that group of people, could never, in some combination, ever, get it together enough to win a World Series. But, he was a great Ranger, that's for sure. He'll be in the Rangers Hall of Fame, no doubt about it, along with Adrian and tons of others from those teams, I'm sure. But, an all-timer, and, best of luck to him in Oakland as he winds down his career. Hopefully some of what the Rangers got back will actually be worthwhile.
I agree.
Chris Davis at DH, you would think, and that means Willie Calhoun's out in the outfield. Chris Davis and Joey Gallo are the names that you're going to really know. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is going to start in place of Adrian Beltre, but Rougned Odor is going to play a little bit, I'm sure, and
that's the name that's going to bother everybody. That's the one that everybody's like, he should have been the one traded, but then again, who would want to trade for him at this point?
They have two guys who have the biggest hole in their swings ever. Gallo and Rougned Odor. And I know that he's a popular guy, but, that's 5, 6, 7. When did they play Toronto?
No, I don't even think Rougned Odor is that popular anymore. I think you're way over.
When was he?
That was 4 years ago.
Yeah, so he's in the doghouse. People want him out. He's kind of like...
He hasn't been good since then. That's been 4 years.
You can't punch Jose Bautista in the face again.
It's not as if he's not a part of the Rangers' history and all that, but...
not really either,
He had one stretch, and then he got the big contract. They overpaid for him, and now they've been stuck with a huge salary.
He's not an all-time Ranger. He's not even close. And so, at the time, it sort of, I guess, kind of made sense, but you also felt like at that time, they were moving towards something. They were signing guys and they thought maybe they had a nucleus to run with, and they very clearly did not. And a big part of the reason why they didn't have that nucleus was because he completely fell off the other side of the earth.
And they paid him a lot of money to do it.
And then soaked up a lot of their payroll while doing it. So Rougned's not a fan favorite any longer for valid reasons, live up to some of your paycheck, and fans would be more than happy to root for Rougned Odor. But when you're soaking up payroll and the team's bad and now the team's rebuilding while you're eating that payroll and not really performing, then you're gonna have some folks turn on you.
Strikes out too much. Gallo every once in a while gives you some pop. Strikes out too much.
Daryl Strawberry said last week, he's like, in this day and age, it's guys go up there and they just want to hit home runs, and that's it. And that's Joey Gallo. It's a home run, or it's not really much else often. I know he's tried to improve that some, but you're right. Him and Odor have two giant holes in their swings, and those are your two most recognized players right now, probably.
Here's a summary of his 2019 year. Batted .205, 30 home runs and 93 runs batted in. That sounds pretty good. Led the American League with 178 strikeouts and led the American League second baseman in errors with 15.
That means that he had more strikeouts than Baltimore and former Ranger player Chris Davis, who that's his art form.
Yeah, he's the king of strikeout. And that's 178 strikeouts. That's one strikeout per game. Oh, yeah, they didn't even play an entire season last year.
Yeah. Five-time Super Bowl champion Charles Haley, that interview we did with him at Super Bowl Radio Row on the phone. Got a little bit to tell you about that. Not next, but we'll have Joe Theismann coming up next. But a note, about how some of you on SicEm365.com have reacted to the Charles Haley interview about depression, and it's hit some of you very hard in a good way because it's gotten your attention, talking about it on a thread, and also in a lot of ways discussing what Charles said and how insightful he was about his life.
Yeah, I want to make mention real quick. Pedro Gomez, that was very sad and abrupt news, and I'm glad that Emily got to speak on it because that was kind of out of nowhere. And he was a good baseball reporter. He was
a Barry Bonds guy, right? And he Paul, wasn't he attached quite a bit to a lot of the Barry Bonds reporting?
Well, one time he asked Barry a question. He goes, "Is this going to be just for this year?" And he goes, "Forever, Gomez, forever." And Pedro rolled with it.
Joe Theismann won a Super Bowl. I think it was Super Bowl 17 when the Redskins beat Miami, their first ever Super Bowl. His thoughts about Tom Brady reaching 7 Super Bowl championships, 10 games, 5 MVP awards, and also his thoughts about how Patrick Mahomes just keeps grinding. He'll be back. Joe Theismann coming up next on SicEm365 Radio. Ideal MRI, premium quality MRIs, convenient, affordable. That's Ideal. That's what they do. And also what they help you do is save money. And that's huge all of the time. Not just now, but all of the time. Because on average, an MRI can cost over $1,100. And their cost every single time is $497 or less. Not like the first time. Not like buy one, get one free time. $497 or less every single time you get an MRI from Ideal MRI. So something's bothering you. You've either broken something, torn something, or something just isn't right. Something, maybe your bicep has been detached. Your doctor wants to find out why there's more than just a little bit of like uneasiness. It hurts like hell. You can't function. You can't sleep. You can't get work done. You can't do what you used to do. Something hurts. And if you are asked to get an MRI by your doctor, then you just ask him, I need to go, what do you need? I need to go to Ideal MRI. They have a state-of-the-art technology MRI machine inside the Central Texas Marketplace in Waco off I-35 and Loop 340. I've been in it. It's amazing. Their Texan specialists, amazing. How they get you lined up for an appointment, amazing. Easy, simple, convenient, low maintenance, and then they'll call you after your MRI and give you an idea of exactly what they see and the video and or whatever the doctor that you have needs to find out what it might be. A torn rotator cuff, a torn ACL, something else. They will get it done at Ideal MRI, and it will only cost you $497 or less, and they'll help you even with your insurance to make sure that they could even maybe knock that down as well. IdealMRI.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Fall in love with a new vehicle for less at Allen Samuels with incredible deals like a 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude Plus or Lux with $6,750 in values, or a 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo for $4,250 in values. There's a reason why Jeep has so many accolades. So come see for yourself and save at AllenSamuels.com. It's the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels, your friend in the car business. AllenSamuelsDCJ.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job.
West Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The Sic'em365 Radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
We have had Joe Theismann as a guest of this show many times. Super Bowl Radio Row was different this year, obviously. He's always a part of that. And he has always been a part of major parts of, like, for example, prostate cancer. He was very much a part of that as well. But Joe Theismann joins us the day after the Buccaneers win a Super Bowl and Tom Brady his 7th. Joe, you were a Super Bowl MVP back early on in the 82 season. What in the hell are we watching right now, the standard that Tom Brady is setting almost daily?
Well, what he's done, guys, first of all, it's good to catch up with you. I hope everybody's safe in your world. And everybody listening out there is safe as well. It's unprecedented what we've been able to witness. The one thing about living in this time where we are, and I know there's a lot of things going on in this world, but what Tom has done in the world of sports is nothing short of phenomenal. I mean, it goes to show you what type of an impact one individual can have on an organization. And you can't lose sight of the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were a 7-9 football team when their quarterback threw 30 interceptions and fumbled 5 times. So the foundation was there. And Tom just added that special magic of his to bring everyone together. Remember, before the bye, this football team was struggling. I mean, nobody was all excited about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before the bye. And then all of a sudden, they went on a tear. They got a late bye, sort of got everything organized. Gronk looked more like himself. He looked leaner. He looked slicker, he looked faster, and all of a sudden Tom has a 7th ring. I mean, it doesn't process in your head that he has more rings than the Pittsburgh Steelers and the San Francisco 49ers have won his team.
Joe, for him to also not only have the effect on the guys that were already there, but look, Antonio Brown's struggles are well documented. Leonard Fournette got run out of Jacksonville because he wasn't a team player for the Jaguars, who wound up being the worst team in the league. What does it say about his leadership that he can get those guys to buy in as well?
Well, I said this when Tom joined the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the offseason. I said the one thing he is going to do above everything else is he has created accountability for the people in the building, for the coaches, and for his teammates, because he operates at a certain standard. And he just doesn't tolerate people who don't know what they're doing. I think that had a little bit to do why he wanted to leave New England. I don't think he felt comfortable up there with the compliment that he had as far as the receivers go. And I mean, let's face it, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick will always be connected together. And this was just a case of Tom winding up on a football team where the defense played great. Kansas City didn't stand a chance against that defense yesterday. Patrick Mahomes ran for his life for an entire 60 minutes. He never was comfortable. He's never able to get the ball out of his hands. Most of the throws he made were contested and, barely got anything out of them. So, I mean, it was an unbelievable team effort. You made the kicks when you needed to. Tom operated the offense in a very efficient manner. expecting Tyrann Mathieu to try and cover Antonio Brown. I don't know if that was in the playbook or not, but, Antonio's just so quick. And I just think everything they did worked out. And then if you look back at the Kansas City-Cleveland game, a game of which I think Kansas City probably would have lost if Cleveland had gotten the ball back, Cleveland ran the ball very effectively against them. And so what you wound up with was not one of these monumental 350-yard passing days from Tom. You wound up with a nice, efficient, almost 75% pass completion percentage, a little over 200-plus yards, and you operate the offense, and that's what they did. But he just holds everybody accountable by his actions.
Joe, do you think the Chiefs got a little bit out of their element, maybe a little bit in their heads last night as that game was kind of turning for the worse? I mean, they weren't out of it for a large portion of the game. In the second half, they were. But did you think that maybe it got to their heads a little bit, just the struggles that they were having?
No, I think it started with losing your offensive tackles against the pass rush that Tampa Bay put out there. I mean, Shaq Barrett's unbelievable. Devin White. I mean, you've got guys that run sub 4.5. These are linebackers that run sub 4.5. And as far as pass rushers go, it was unbelievable. And Patrick has a bad foot. You could see that. Not that I'm not making excuses. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers just beat him every way, upside down and backwards. But the fact of the matter is I don't think the Chiefs really were what you would say at full strength. And the Kansas City Chiefs struggled against the run. They're driven so much by their offense that their defense doesn't get exposed as much. But the corners both got holding penalties, which they had. Cleveland, like I said, was sort of an indicator to me that they were going to struggle against the run. And Tampa's offensive line just got better and better and better. They were healthy. It was really a complete football team up against somebody that wasn't near as complete.
It's amazing that when someone like Patrick Mahomes wins early, which he did, and how dynamic he's been the last 3 years, and then all of a sudden they lose a game. And it's like, oh, my God, all hell's breaking loose. What would you say to Patrick about learning from the experience? He's going to be just fine and ring up more MVPs and maybe even more Lombardi trophies, but they're hard to get to. Brady has done something silly. What would you say to him if you talk to him?
I just say, Patrick, look, and you made a great point. Learn from this experience. What do you need to do better as a quarterback? What do we need to do better as a football team? Because he is, I think, the leader of that football team. And you saw guys unraveling in the first half. I mean, you were up against an unbelievable football team that played a great game. And you know what's scary, guys, is as I'm watching that football game, we lost to the Raiders Super Bowl 18 in Tampa. The final score of that game was 38-9. Mm-hmm. If Tampa Bay had scored one more touchdown, it would have been the exact same score that I went through and the pain that I felt in that particular time. And I can empathize completely with what Patrick went through as far as being able to run for your life. I mean, they had set up, the Raiders for us had set up a scheme where I was just getting blasted all the time. And you just, you're running for your life, trying to get rid of the football. And, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm deja vuing it again here. Be careful. But it was, I just think there was no question. Tampa Bay was the better football team. But if I was Patrick, just, look at the film, figure out how you can play better and get ready for next year.
I will say this. He threw the two most amazing incomplete passes I've ever seen in my entire life, including the one that looked like he was trying to turn a double play at shortstop, Joe.
Well, they were more just throw it up and hope. They were hope balls. Mm-hmm. They were, it's like just before I go down, let me throw the ball. And, then he does the Superman thing where he's flying through the air and throws the football. I mean, it just gives you an idea of his arm strength and the versatility with which he can throw passes. And I tell you what, he does not want to make a living doing that kind of stuff. Trust me.
Joe Theismann with us on SicEm365 Radio. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak, and David Smoak.
Joe, already been kind of an interesting offseason for the NFL. Where do you think this Carson Wentz journey has taken us?
It could be a number of places. I mean, there are lots of teams that need quarterbacks. And it isn't just Carson Wentz, but what's going to happen with Sam Darnold in New York?
Sure.
I mean, they've got the second pick of the draft. Are they going to go after one of the young kids? My favorite quarterback in this draft is Zach Wilson at BYU, even over Trevor Lawrence. That's my personal feeling. But Carson needs a change of scenery. I think he needs to gain back his confidence. After he got hurt, he was a different football player, and it takes a couple of years. But we saw what happened, and I use Ryan Tannehill sort of as an example for guys changing scenery, getting into a different system, somebody utilizing their talents maybe in a little bit of a different way. Everybody thought he couldn't play. And when he was in Miami, it's like, oh, the guy's a bust. He goes to Tennessee, gets them a game away from the Super Bowl, and has a really good backup year this year, the second year there. So I think, certainly a change of scenery for Carson would do well, because it's not just what would happen in Philadelphia, but the fans in Philadelphia would be unmerciful. And that's no fun going to work when you have to run out on a field on Sunday and, a lot of people don't like you. Been there, done that. It's not fun.
Last time we had you on, we discussed Dwayne Haskins. Obviously, a lot has changed with the Washington football team. Obviously, Ron Rivera did a nice job of giving them some stability, but they still have to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback. Joe, what kind of job did Rivera do to bring back some respect to that franchise that's been through so many weird things, but also what do you think they do at quarterback?
Well, I'll answer the second question first. I think they have to look for a quarterback somewhere, whether it's in free agency, whether it's in the draft. They draft 19th. Now, are they going to make a run at Deshaun Watson? I don't really know. I'm not sure what they're going to do. I would protect the number one pick, maybe not give up two number ones, or which they've done before for people. And Ron Rivera was just, an inspiration. He and Alex Smith were two great inspirations. Ron fighting cancer, going through all the treatments that he had to. Alex coming back off that injury, and congratulations again to him for winning Comeback Player of the Year. When you look at what those two men meant to this football team, it's monumental. And then the fact that the Washington football team made the playoffs. I don't care what the record was. They made the playoffs. They had a home playoff game, and that puts a much better taste in their mouth as they move forward into the offseason. But quarterback position has to be one that they have to identify as a position need.
No question about it.
Do you think that they would be a fit for Sam Darnold potentially?
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking it might be very interesting. I think Sam's talented. The Jets have been in a disheveled mess for a while, all the time he's been there. But, the biggest thing, guys, and you look at people who've played this game a lot of years, you have to figure out how to stay healthy. You can't play 5 or 6 games and then all of a sudden sit for 3 or 4. Every game, every practice is a learning experience. If you were to sit down with Tom Brady right now, after 21 years and 7 Super Bowls, and ask him about the game of football, I promise you this, because I've done it. He would say, I'm still learning to play. I'm still learning the game. And this is, young kids think that they've got it all figured out. But this game evolves on a continuing basis. Everything evolves around you at the position. Coaches, plays, players, playbooks, concepts, new ways to, diet, new ways to take care of yourself, new ways to exercise. There's so many things to continue to learn at the position. You just have to be open-minded. You mentioned Dwayne's situation in Washington. I was very happy to see at the end when he was released that he made a statement and said, there were things that I could and should have done better. And I'm going to use this experience as a learning experience of what I'm going to need to do if I want to play quarterback in the National Football League. He knows what he did and didn't do. And it felt good to hear him say, hey, look, this is what I have to do. And so for that, I wish him success in Pittsburgh.
Joe, did you ever hear from Dak Prescott after his injury? Did he contact you at all? Obviously, the Cowboys I just wasn't sure if there was any connection there.
No, I didn't get a chance to, but I think Dak, I hope, is continuing to rehab well and come back strong and be a force for that football team. Sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder. and you could see the struggles the Cowboys had. Even as Andy tried to adjust, Dak's a special talent, and our business is a supply and demand business. Okay, there are not enough quarterbacks in the National Football League to be able to fill all the needs that are coming up in this particular year. I'm assuming that Dak is going to wind up signing a new deal. I think Jerry realizes that he almost has to sign him to a new deal. Because what's your option? See, that's the other thing. It isn't just the economics when it comes to guys. It's what's my option if I don't sign you? So Jerry had a chance to look at his options in Dallas, and now he has to evaluate and say, Dak's got to be my best choice. So if the number has to go to what it is, it is what it is. And from what I understand, it wasn't necessarily the dollars. I think it was the years that was an issue when it came to Dak's contract down there. So, and of course, it's always the guarantee. But I would be shocked, totally, absolutely shocked, if Dak Prescott wasn't a Dallas Cowboy quarterback for the foreseeable future.
Given what you said, Joe, about the premium on special quarterbacks and just kind of quarterbacks in general, and the fact that he wasn't in a contract situation, do you just kind of shake your head at the Texans and Deshaun Watson and where that has gone now?
Yeah, it's ugly. When a quarterback comes out and says after 4 months of signing a contract you want to leave, I didn't quite understand that. My question is, why did you sign the contract?
Right.
Because you would have gotten a ton of money anyway. But you accepted the money, and I don't think Deshaun really had the time during the season to sit down and go through a general manager search and coaching search. Now, I don't know what was said to him. I have no idea. But I know now, if I'm the general manager of the Houston Texans and I'm the new head coach of the Houston Texans, the first thing I do is I sit down with my quarterback and say, now I want to hear from you of what you think we need to do to be able to compete and be the football team that we need to be. Now I want your input. Because I just don't know how you can prepare for games and keep yourself ready to play and be involved in any kind of an interview process or conversations about those two positions in management. But now you can. I talked to a former general manager in the National Football League, and I said, at the end of the season, did you ever sit down with your players and talk to them? He said, absolutely. I talked to 3 or 4 or 5 guys, find out what they thought, how they felt about the season, how they felt about the football team. Where do you think we're going? What do we need? That's what the Houston Texans need to do now, because you gave up DeAndre Hopkins, all right? You already stubbed your toe once. Now you're going to stub your toe again. If I'm a Houston Texans fan and you get rid of DeAndre and then you get rid of Deshaun, what are you kidding me?
Yeah,
what am I going to go to a game for?
Yeah.
What am I going to a game for?
No question.
JJ's a great guy and a terrific player, but still, it's offense that lights people up.
Joe, thank you, as always. We appreciate your time. Thanks for being a part of the show whenever you can, whenever we invite you, and you always say yes. We appreciate your time.
Good to catch up with you guys. Please stay safe and take care.
Yes, sir. That's Joe Theismann, former Redskins quarterback, of course, Notre Dame, CFL, Dolphins.
It is funny that I saw the book's out on Mahomes. I'm like, come on, seriously.
Look, I got a stat for you on the Mahomes, but go ahead.
I'll tell you this. When I remember the karma in my own life, you remember when I broke my toe, Smokey? Early on in our career together, I broke my toe. And I remember thinking when I was sitting in the emergency room and the doctor was charging me $750 to tape it to the other toe and give me a boot, I thought, this is what I get for when Deion Sanders hurt his toe back in the 90s for the Cowboys.
Used to laugh at him.
And I'd be like, oh, how come you can't play with a toe? And I couldn't walk for normally for a month. And then when Patrick Mahomes is out there struggling on it, look, man, your toe, and when you hurt it and you can't plant and you can't do all those things and do it, I was more impressed with Patrick Mahomes last night playing on that broken toe than I probably would have been in a normal situation having gone through it. The book is not out of Mahomes. He didn't have offensive linemen. There are a lot of things going on. Todd Bowles had an absolutely glorious game plan.
You wonder if the NFL coaching changes and searches that have been going on really since even before the end of the season, if in fact some of the teams that have hired, and everybody I think has filled their spots, maybe it's not so much about why didn't Eric Bieniemy get a job. Todd Bowles has been a head coach before, correct? Mm-hmm. But after the job that he did yesterday, and even Byron Leftwich, right?
Yeah, I think it's as much about for Bieniemy, it's an opportunity thing. It's like, okay, he may suck, but at least give him a chance to suck. Whereas Todd Bowles has had a chance, and he might be a better coach now, and Todd Bowles might be a head coach here in the next few years, and I'm certain that whatever interest there was, it's risen a little bit since last night, for sure.
I really do, and like part of the thing is Bill Belichick got another chance. Tons of other, like, and look, this is kind of what Robert Griffin was talking about when we had him on a couple weeks ago, which was, look, why aren't people, who's the black guy equivalent of Josh McCown, who's just retired, who's got a great football mind, that's going to be a head coach someday soon?
I guess the closest will be Leftwich.
Yeah,
now.
So Leftwich. So why is that an opportunity not coming for black players? And then who's going to be the black Bill Belichick, who didn't do well in Cleveland for the most part? They had one season, but then they were moving, and it kind of cratered on him. And so who's that guy that's going to say, okay, look, I wasn't great with the Jets? Pete Carroll was a terrible head coach before he went to USC, as far as his record goes, very average at best. And now he's won a national championship in college and a Super Bowl. Yeah. So
it's about the opportunities. Opportunities is the right word.
Yeah.
Opportunities. It's not should it's opportunities. Give them opportunities. Now, at the same time, if you give them opportunities and they fail, they fail. But at least they had the chance, because you never know.
That's what it comes down to.
Here's a stat about Patrick Mahomes. The book is out on Patrick Mahomes. Last night he threw the ball like 46 or 40, whatever, 9 times. He was pressured 29 times. I was there. I was at seats that were phenomenal about being able to watch what was happening to him. Tom Brady was pressured 4 times.
4 times to 29 times.
It's not only the largest difference, 25 pressures to 2 quarterbacks in Super Bowl history. ESPN began tracking this statistic, quarterback pressures, in 2009. It's the most or the largest disparity in the last, 12 years or so, that at least has been tracked by ESPN.
Yeah, I mean, I love Patrick, but I enjoyed seeing the Bucs win. I did. The Chiefs, I feel like if they would have won last night, then then the countdown would have been on to how many, how quickly will Mahomes catch Brady kind of talk would have started to happen. And and now there is a little bit of at least a blemish, and before that there wasn't any blemish to speak of with Patrick and the Chiefs really. But now it's like, okay, now that makes for an interesting story next year, is them trying to bounce back and shrug off this loss and this stumble and try to get back there again. I'm sure he'll be super hungry, but hey, the Bucs will be back and they'll be looking to defend their title. I think it creates some interesting storylines. I would have been happy with either outcome last night, but like I said earlier, I think it was cool to be able to watch Brady and actually appreciate him as a non-Patriot for the first time. I did enjoy that.
I think a lot of people that might have not have liked him at all because of the Patriots probably might have seen some people going, "This is pretty cool." Yeah. Mahomes addressed, by the way, what he's going to learn from this, the feeling that sticks in your stomach. This is not the end of something, he said. It's going to be another chapter. They'll be fine. Andy Reid and the Chiefs they'll be fine. But sometimes when you do show weakness, in this case, of course, the pressure on Mahomes, and a lot of times because of who was not playing, then people write the book, and the book is out.
So I have a question for you. If I had asked you, just take Tom Brady out of the equation, I mean, you're from the era where you can appreciate, the players gone by, or, going back to like Jim Brown. I remember growing up, like if there was an argument against Montana and his 4 Super Bowls, I'd always hear from the older crowd, well, Jim Brown, you should have seen Jim Brown. Was there somebody who I haven't mentioned that you would have had in the greatest of all time talk? And regardless of who that is there anybody that you would even put next to Brady at this point as the GOAT of American football? His 6 titles.
There was a discussion. You could have a handful of names. Jim Brown, you mentioned him. What Montana did. Even though Bradshaw had 4 Super Bowl rings, his name was never in that discussion.
Right. Yeah.
It was more even Marino and Elway than it was Terry Bradshaw, who won 4, and he won it in different ways. His first 2 years that he won, it was more defensive-oriented. The last 2 years, they had Stallworth and Swan and all those guys, and it was more offense, and Bradshaw was putting up huge numbers. No.
I don't get caught up in all the GOAT talk. Like the Jordan versus LeBron thing just bores me to death because it's been going on for so long now, and nobody's opinion ever changes on it, quite frankly. You're either on one side or the other, and you don't flip-flop. But, yeah, I know that there's still – probably somebody out there arguing that he's not and that it's a Jim Brown or a Joe Montana or whoever you want to throw out there, and I was just curious.
All right, so how many national titles does Nick Saban have? I just Googled it.
Yeah, there you go. Same
7.
number of Brady has Super Bowls.
Which is just ridiculous. These are not easy to get. They're hard. Some of the greatest coaches might have had 1, none, or even 2 or 3 maybe.
In the modern day, we were watching the greatest college football coach of all time. We were watching probably the greatest American football player of all time, and maybe the greatest NBA player of all time with LeBron. If not,
he's
Jordan
in the discussion.
Yeah, of course he is, and and
Mike Trout maybe in baseball.
I was going to say with baseball, Mike Trout, I know we'll have some arguments for him as well. Probably not as clear cut as those other guys as far as GOAT status, but yeah, we were watching a lot of special people.
Trout needs to win some titles.
And Mike Trout's problem is that in a 9-player sport, where you need other guys to knock you in, like when you hit a double and just stare at them, and when you're in second base, that's Mike Trout's problem. Otherwise, if Mike Trout's
hit a home run and nobody's on base,
yeah, exactly. Mike Trout's Mr. Solo Home Runner. Oh look, I opened up the league with a double. Hey, buddy, why don't you bring me home? So, but yeah, Mike Trout, like it's all that way, and whatever the discussion. Look, we've probably seen the. And under this one is very much up for debate with Nicklaus. But as far as the most talented golfer of all time, we've seen that in this era as well.
We've seen Tiger. We've seen Serena Williams, although she's not like at the top of the titles yet, but she's got a case to be made for GOAT status probably by the time she hangs up the shoes and the racket. So, yeah, we've seen a lot of greats in this last, couple decades.
News today, Iowa State has extended Matt Campbell's contract, a new 8-year deal that runs through December 2028. Also agreed to provide Campbell a total of $3 million for staff salary enhancements over the next 3 years. So coordinators, and that's how you win the heart.
That $3 million is what that's about, because the 7 years means nothing.
Nothing.
If Matt Campbell wants to go to Michigan or, the Saints or, whoever offers him a job next year, he'll go. If there's a buyout, but the $3 million for assistance, and I don't think Matt Campbell, I think he's probably shown already that he's not an opportunist. Like, he's going to build something, and then when he's ready to go, he'll go.
Right.
But he's not going to, he's not going to be one of these guys that just kind of climb the Bobby Petrino kind of a guy.
All right, the 5 o'clock hour coming up in a moment. We'll look back again, take more of your calls and texts. We had a handful of them. Damn it, Steven, I did not ask Joe Theismann about his restaurant. I will text him. Text him that. But it's a good question. Steven asked me to ask Theismann if what he learned in competitive moments, under the gun, in the clutch as a football player, helped him when he became a businessman. Steven, I'm sorry.
Steven, he's been traveling all day. Cut him some slack.
I will text him that, and I will share that with you. Coming up, the Charles Haley interview as well. A lot of you have responded to that about his insight and transparency about depression. 5-time Super Bowl champion was on with us last week. That plus 254-339-1122. Baylor men's basketball. Now 3 more games have been postponed. Texas Tech in both games with West Virginia. Your thoughts? This is SicEm365 Radio.
Does your company need mass COVID testing? Do you want to, just for a precaution, did you have a positive, somebody that did test positive, and you have some employees that you want to get tested? Well, remember this website, impacthealthlabs.com. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 military medical professionals, and these guys have created a system to where you're not going to be sitting around waiting. My mom had to get a COVID test to go in and have a minor medical procedure on her eyes, and they didn't really call her back. They just, when the hospital let her in, they said, yeah, you didn't have COVID. Well, she sat around and waited for somebody to call her back and say, hey, you don't have COVID. Well, Impact Health Labs is going to come to you. You're not going to go anywhere. They're going to come to you. They're going to do the test, the PCR test, which is the most accurate test, on site. And then you're going to have the test back in 24 hours. They take most major forms of insurance, so out-of-pocket cost for you and your employees is low. And you'll know within 24 hours what you need to do to proceed if you might be staring down the barrel of an outbreak at your office, your church, your dorm, your Little League, your whatever it is. They can do it for you, and they can do mass COVID testing within 24 hours. So remember the website, impacthealthlabs.com.
In Texas, there's pea-size hail and baseball-size hail. Guess which one hit our house? We didn't even know where to begin, but we called our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent, and he was so reassuring. He knew exactly what to do to get our house back into shape and our lives back to normal. Now, we're even more thankful for the roof over our heads.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
It's a new year. Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Hi, this is David Smoak, including what you'll need to watch the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl. Ribs, sauces, links, brisket, chicken wings, bags of various snacks, and customized appetizer trays. Don't forget to order something now for the perfect home-cooked Valentine's Day dinner, which is closer than you think, including combo packs with ribeyes, fillets, and lobster tails. Live crawfish season is just around the corner. Absolutely the right time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Waco Custom Marketplace, your family meat market, butcher shop and bakery with everything baked fresh with old-fashioned farmers market atmosphere. Serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
The trucks, man, they have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man, he has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Second down, 20, 5:03 to go. Someone has run on the field. Some guy with a brawl. And now he's not being chased. He's running down the middle, the 40. Arms in the air in a victory salute. He's pulling down his pants. Put up your pants, my man. Pull up those pants.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, we'll get some responses to the Charles Haley interview from last week. Here's also from the 936 on the text line, brought to you by Riverbend Liquor and Wine. The same thing happened to Mahomes that happened to Charlie Brewer all season. Offensive line issues expose your team's weaknesses.
Yeah,
Yep.
As far as running for his life and facing constant pressure, yep, absolutely that was the case. And I know there will be a Baylor fan or 4 or 5 that will say, yeah, well, last year mostly was quarterback play, didn't have the arm strength to get it downfield, he couldn't find receivers or this or that. I'll say what I've said all along about last season. It was a combination of things. You can't just point in one area and say that's the reason why they weren't very good. No, it was everything pretty much was the reason why, except for the defense as a whole, as a unit. So, yeah, that was very, very much similar to a Baylor game in some ways, watching guys just bust through a line and sack the quarterback over and over again, or at least rattle the quarterback over and over again.
We will get into this Gorilla Glue controversy in a minute, but we got to get through it. I mean, Armstrong, we need you. This is one of you and Rob. All right, so we had 5-time Super Bowl champion Charles Haley. We've had him before, and he's talked about and discussed his battle with depression. So I put that up because somebody had reached out to us, I guess I can't remember when it was. Oh, because of other interviews we had last week. Here are the responses to the Haley interview. Wow, just excellent with Haley. A brave personal story. Y'all just keep upping the bar. Charles freaking Haley, amazing. From Jack and DP, outstanding radio show and podcast. I'm not reading it because of that, but we appreciate it. So awesome that the involved parties had the vision to pull this off. San Antonio, Texas Bear. Definitely, I know someone who probably had bipolar disorder and committed suicide recently, just could not get over the hump, and I just wonder how much the COVID pandemic contributed to the tragedy. From Ivy_twin. Despise the sad stigma against mental illness. We will take an aspirin for a headache, but no Prozac for depression. Appreciate this piece. From Ursus Americanus. His maturity with age is bittersweet, takes a great amount of humility to acknowledge burning so many bridges needlessly as he did with his prime playing days. We all wish he could go back and tell our younger selves to do something differently, no question. From J-Row, I've had the good fortune to spend quite a bit of time with Charles, helping with his biggest passion, his charity, Tackle Tomorrow. It's believed that if a child is not reading on their appropriate grade level by 3rd grade, their chances of success become greatly diminished. He gets into that because I know who J-Row is. If anyone is willing to make a tax-deductible contribution, $500 or more, I could easily set up a lunch with Charles in personalized Cowboys jersey or helmet. And at the end,
Nice.
Hart just said respect.
It's very cool. And if somebody's interested in that, definitely hit J-Row up on the premium section of Sic'em, in touch with him somehow, or we can make that happen, certainly for a donation of that size and for such a good cause. But, yeah, Charles was I thought Darryl Strawberry as well was
that's
very interesting to listen to.
Yep.
And, his side was equally, they both dealt with addictions, but they also dealt with mental health in a major way. And, you talk about somebody that you could have just written off. I know some people do like the death wager on like who's the Deadpool. There you go. And if you would have had Darryl Strawberry in that thing, I think you would have felt like you're going to win that bad boy rather easily. And to see where he's come in life is just incredible. I mean, absolutely insane where Darryl Strawberry has found himself at this point in life, and Charles too. I mean, Charles easily could have been a bad ending, a bad story, and instead he's turned it into a passion project. And Charles is known to break down and cry, start talking about this stuff, if you get him on long enough. And so obviously it means a great deal to him. And, both those guys were fantastic.
We've told the story a bunch of times, but when I had him when he was a College Football Hall of Famer, I was at the National Championship in Dallas, and Ivan Sokolowski set us up with him. And I called Smokey and I said, okay, here's what I've got. I got Brian Bosworth with Craig here in a minute, and then we've got a couple other things. And I've got Charles Haley. He's coming by here, and I'm going to record that. And you're like, you're not getting Charles Haley. That's not going to happen. And then when I got done, I was like, well, he was the nicest guy you could ever been. And then you hear these stories about Charles, and you watch the football life with Charles Haley and the things that he went through. He's tackling it. He's going head on against it, and that takes a lot of courage. It's hard, and then I always love talking to Charles when we get a chance to.
Gorilla Glue. I've had it. I've used it. I have tried to, let's say, for example, I have readers. I have 50 pair. In fact, the last 3 days in Tampa, I had to wear a pair of readers because there aren't Walgreens and stuff right around the corner when we were in the Airbnb. So I lost my readers. I have about 20 pair of these things, and I have a package that's 4 brand new ones that I've never opened before.
Do I have to buy you a chain? Or are we going to have to do the chain for your glasses?
I've been saying it for years.
Armstrong, why are you agreeing to this? This has happened to me. Right here,
Yeah.
Wearing a pair and then going to find another pair to wear and even try to put them on while I'm wearing a pair. This is awful. This is a bad deal. That might also be a little bit of what's up in here or not anymore. Paul finds a pair of my reading glasses in the crack of your butt.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't.
I mean,
at
so
all.
I got in a rental car on Saturday morning to drive to the airport, and I sat down and I got up to fill it up with gas. And when I got up,
gas, of course,
I got to fill up the car with gas. When I got up, they just fell, like they fell out of my leg or something. And I was like, "What in the world?"
Boy, that must have been a hell of a night, man. I'm telling you, right?
Weird. It was weird. Yeah. No.
I bet they were probably just in the rental car seat.
They were sitting in the rental car seat, but I didn't know what happened. And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" You had said to me before I left, if you find my readers in the house. And so I had that morning before I left, I went through everything and I turned the place upside down. I was like, I guess he must have left him at the row. And then
I just thought I lost him in the conveyor belt when you go through security. Yeah. I had that pop off one time. So yes, I need a chain.
Well, that's a whole nother level of getting older.
All right, let's talk Gorilla Glue.
All right, so I've used Gorilla Glue before. There's things that I try to piece together something. I don't know. Sometimes you use super glue. So Gorilla Glue, if you get it on your fingers, it's there forever. Right? It takes forever. Eventually you wear it off, it crystallizes, and you can kind of pop it off, right?
But if you use the Gorilla Spray adhesive as a hairspray.
Like Pam?
Yes. And this is the picture on your screen is a woman named Tessica Brown who, after running out of hairspray, used Gorilla
I didn't know it was in a spray form.
Adhesive, which is the stuff that the heavy duty, it's the heavy duty on there. That's the stuff sometimes if you want to stick something to like a brick wall in your garage, that's what you spray on it. So it'll stick to brick.
Okay, so what's the story?
So she sprayed it on her hair.
Which
part of it? The part that's stuck
pretty much all of it. And that is her hairstyle now, perhaps in perpetuity, because after more than 15 washes, various treatments, and an emergency room visit, her hair remains stuck in place.
Okay, who's going to lose money here?
Well, she's going to attempt to sue Gorilla Glue most likely, maybe, potentially. I don't know if that's official or not, but I know that Paul was mentioning there was some chatter about that. I don't think that would go very well for her. Just because I think everybody in the world laughed at her and said, "What were you thinking putting Gorilla Glue in your hair?" Now, it was some type of a mix-up, obviously, that she thought it was something else or whatever, but I don't know how it's Gorilla Glue's fault. Like, I don't know what heavy-duty spray adhesive. I mean, it's pretty clear right there on the bottle, but yeah, a lot of people feel very bad for this woman. I do as well. I will feel less bad if she tries to sue and get something out of this for her own mistake.
Well, she set up a TikTok and a YouTube channel, so I mean, clearly she's having fun with it. I mean,
Well, she didn't look like she was having fun in the ER the other day.
No, because
I did see the original video, and yeah, she had put it in her hair, and then obviously realized it got stuck. Then she tried to put conditioner in there, thinking that would help, I guess, get it out. And that just made her hair like white, basically, because the conditioner wouldn't come off. Yeah. And so she's, washed it multiple times, this and that, done everything imaginable, and it's still just stuck rock hard in place. And there was one doctor that I read who, like maybe CNN or something, said that very well could have fractured all of the roots of her hair as a result of this. So I feel terrible for this woman. I mean, it's something you laugh at first and have fun with, but like now at this point, it's like, golly. If I was in that situation,
fractures the roots of her hair, I mean, they can't really shave it off then, right?
I don't know how you could. Yeah. I don't know how you could shave it.
You would think
you can't. I mean, what razor's going to go through Gorilla Glue?
There has to be something, an oily kind of a greasy.
She put conditioner on there. Oh, yeah. Then somebody else, she went online for recommendations, and people were laughing about it at first, and then eventually people started feeling very sorry for her, obviously, because it was clear how emotionally distressed she was becoming when the conditioner didn't work and the water didn't work. And so somebody actually advised her to use rubbing alcohol, because I guess that maybe I guess that works on regular Gorilla Glue on your finger or something. I don't know. But apparently that went really badly. And I can just feel the burn on my head even thinking about it. And that might have been what precipitated her trip to the hospital.
Now when a kid gets gum in their hair, right, Armstrong, it's peanut butter?
Or ice. I know ice has been used.
Or shears.
Or shears, yeah, you can go and just cut it off.
I've had a chunk taken out.
Shears work.
Yeah.
But that's like on your scalp. Like that's not, you cut a strand off and then it's gone, like you got gum in your hair.
I mean, this is all a great ad for Gorilla Glue.
Oh, it's a huge boost for Gorilla Glue attention.
It works well.
It does if you want to lose your hair probably, then yes, use Gorilla Glue on it. But
isn't there Gorilla Tape too, Paul?
Yeah, there's Gorilla Tape, and
I didn't know there was a spray glue. I didn't know.
Oh, they're all over the place.
What if you're spraying something on the wall of your garage and you're wanting to like add something to the wall that maybe is something then you can hang on it, whatever, and it gets into your face? It's an aerosol.
I guess
like on your eyes, and it shuts your eyes.
Well, I would assume that they tell you to not like put your face right next to it, and I'd probably wear a mask or something like that. I would think so. I think there's probably some type of warning that also will forever now, if it didn't already include, do not put in your hair or get on your skin, because this has now become such a popular story.
Yeah, Bill Engvall from he's comedians with, one of the redneck comedy tour, whatever it is, blue collar comedy tour. He had a bit called Here's Your Sign. And the bit was basically there are all these things that warning labels, like on the, if you're trying to change the fan belt in your car, it says, please, make sure you turn off the fan belt before you change it, which means that somebody probably, tried to grab a fan belt that was running around a motor while they were trying to change it.
Man.
So now Gorilla Glue will have to say, hey, this is for heavy-duty adhesive only. It is not a hair or beauty product.
She apparently spoke to KISS, or one of the KISS FM stations, and she said, when I got to the ER, I got in the bed, they got nail polish remover, saline water, started with the back because I told her it wasn't that much spray in the back. When the healthcare worker started, it started to burn. She took the saline water and tried to cool it off. It burned so bad that my heart started beating too fast. She told me it looked like she could do it, but it's going to take at least 20 hours to get all of it out. She said, I asked them, can I go home? At least I'll be home and comfortable and stay instead of laying in a hospital bed. So that's what she did. She tried to use acetone wipes and saline water, but the pain was too excruciating for either her or her friend to continue.
That's crazy.
So it's been like this for a month.
Yeah.
Her hair's been stuck for a month because of Gorilla Glue.
So so you can't get rid of whatever your hair. Can she wash your hair and keep it clean? Does it even penetrate to where you wash the grease off your hair?
If the conditioner just turned white on top of it and then got stuck.
Yeah.
So the soap would do the same thing.
That's what she did initially. She put conditioner in there, and then it just made her hair look just like bright white.
Armstrong, anything like this ever happen on campus when you were going about your business?
Ever accidentally put Gorilla Glue in your hair?
No, not that I can recall.
Nothing like that.
Armstrong, I just brought hats from the Super Bowl. These, you know how much these hats are?
How much?
$40 a piece.
No way. Really?
No, I'm dead. Put one on.
Okay. Well, I have a. Here, hold on one sec.
Got his headphones.
Oh,
on.
yeah.
There you
All
go.
right, there you go. Show the picture.
Here,
I had 3 different types of hats. One's a higher top hat. There we go. That looks pretty good. Looks like good. Justin Timberlake.
It's the first time me seeing it. It looks good.
He's not very popular right now. Justin Timberlake. No, not after the Britney expose that came out the other day.
I didn't hear about that. Was he mad? Was he mean to Britney?
It did not look good for him, and he combined the Janet Jackson, stuff, where he kind of tried to back away from all that and like kind of push the blame elsewhere. And I didn't watch this, but it's looking back at Britney Spears' life, and when you look back, man, there's a Diane Sawyer interview where she's basically raking Britney over the coals, I believe, for like somebody harassing her. And it's like this poor girl, like her life is crazy and she's a superstar. It's kind of like with Bieber and the way he was treated. And you look back at it like 20 years later and you're like, they screwed Britney, man. Like they really screwed her over. And yeah, there's a whole mass of people that are now very upset with Justin Timberlake for the way he treated that whole situation. So yeah, he's not so popular right now for the fans out there.
Very interesting. I didn't know anything about that. So good luck with the woman with Gorilla Glue, and she'll somehow finagle her way out of getting a check. Although they have, I think, responded to it. And
well, it's free advertising, so maybe they give her a little something just for the pain and suffering and for the free advertisement. But I don't think she's finagling anything but trying to get the Gorilla Glue out of her hair right now. That's all she's worried about.
This is a unique situation because this product is not indicated for use in or on hair, as it is considered permanent.
No.
Our spray stays in the warning label: do not swallow, do not get in eyes, skin, or on clothing.
It does not say hair. Technicality. They'll get her.
All right.
That's where they'll get him.
At 5:30, Tom Flores, who's been a guest on the show a couple of different times. Drew Pearson, of course, also finally official. In fact, yesterday at the game, they lined up the current day players who are all going to go into the Hall of Fame. Bill Nunn, who's part of the Steelers franchise, is gone, but his name was up there. They had Tom Flores' name up there. He was not in attendance, but Drew Pearson was, along with the others. Of the five, Alan Faneca, hell of a player. Obviously, Charles Woodson, Calvin Johnson, Peyton Manning. Who am I missing? There was one more name that was a part of
John Lynch.
John Lynch, of course, an incredibly popular ovation for him since he played for the Bucs, now the GM of the 49ers. But Drew Pearson was out there, and he's traveling back. But we got Tom Flores coming up to discuss that. That's going to be a long day. Isn't that also on top of?
I think they're going to break it up into a couple of different days.
Isn't that on top of who was supposed to be inducted last year?
Because there was 20 people, so there's going to be 25 people. I think they're going to break it up over a couple of different days.
20 people, but there were 7, 8 names now, right?
Yeah, so you put 27, 28. So you break it up over, say, 4 days, which is the whole event is.
No, that loses luster.
I don't know.
Not for the person being inducted. You don't care what day it is, just get it done.
No.
But I have to tell you, and that's what I was going to share the story with Drew Pearson today. But so I'm sitting there, and my phone gets those alerts, right? The ESPN alerts. And the alert flashes, Tom Flores has been selected to be a part of the senior whatever, veteran. I never saw the one with Drew. So I got kind of, I guess, on something else, and I never saw Drew. It started making me wonder, oh, my God, they're going to take it to even a worse level. And then, of course, he did get the call.
No, that would be like Superman, like catching you when you're falling and then taking you and dropping you from higher. Yeah.
That would be super cruel.
I mean, no, his video was very. I like the way they did it. Obviously, they did it throughout the week or so.
Yeah, they did.
It wasn't, but his video where he goes to visit Jerry and Roger. And
Roger's got the white beard.
Oh yeah, Roger looks like he's certainly taken COVID to a level, with the beard and he's got his. But they go and he sees them there, and he doesn't know. And then here comes David Baker in to tell him, and he was just overwhelmed with joy.
Yeah,
and we've been friends with Drew for a long time, and I was watching it overwhelmed with joy for him as well. I mean, it's so long overdue. And it is for our next guest. It's long overdue for him as well.
Yeah. Tom Flores. And I tell you what, they did a good job. It really was. Tampa, it's not a big stadium in the first place. It was 24,000+ there. The access into the stadium seemed to be okay. But you know enough about it. They closed down Del Mabry from Martin Luther King all the way to Columbus. So that was a nightmare. But that's part of perhaps the security of game day and the Super Bowl as well.
Yeah, well, they got through it. Now we'll see the Tampa numbers and kind of what those look like after the celebrations. That's what they'll have to brace for next after cleaning up and everything. But they got through it, and they had a successful game. And I know the ratings aren't quite out yet, although there's enough of the ratings information available to know that apparently the number of people watching in Boston was far higher than the number of people watching in Tampa for last night's game. So people have been having fun with that. Either, Patriots fans missing Brady, or either Tampa sports fans are just not very good. Whatever argument you want to make.
It's like watching your ex-girlfriend wedding on Facebook
Exactly
Live.
Right. It really is.
Well, I wonder if the Tampa numbers are different, because if you're
people were there.
Yeah, and there were thousands of people around the stadium that did not get in the stadium. It wasn't as if that you had to have a ticket. But
the full ratings haven't come out yet. I did see, I think, where like in Canada they dropped by like 15% or something. So I don't get so caught up in that, but just, with the way cable's going and just the interest level, you kind of wonder what it was going in. Like, there was obviously a lot of people interested, but even then, like in the game, the way that it was, like, did that turn away people because it was kind of an ass kicking,
I'll tell you. So, I've always wondered, and aloud on the radio sometimes, because I'd never actually met someone like this who doesn't watch the Super Bowl. Like, wouldn't you? Because it's one of those things that it's just
no.
I've always wondered who doesn't.
Well, how many people watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah, but like of
50
all the
million.
50 million. We have 400 million people.
Yeah, but I've never met anybody who hasn't.
Right.
So that's why I always wondered, except that I've known someone their whole life that hasn't. My sister didn't watch it, and Luke came over and watched it because he wanted to watch the game, and apparently it's forbidden viewing in their house. But I was, So Luke came over watching him with me.
The reason, and again, what they got done a long time ago is they put these pregame concerts and these pregame performances, and then they do not just the national anthem, but America the Beautiful. They do all of that, and they did that last night, and that's They then do the halftime, which has become almost bigger than the game. For people who sometimes will go watch it, otherwise they don't care about football. But the weekend, one, he missed an E in his name. That bothers me as a spelling bee champion. The responses have been up and down, as you can imagine, very, very high, and some of them are very, very low. The guy had to perform, and whether you liked his entertainment or not, that's irrelevant to me. I was there. You don't have the stuff that's on the field. They had some dancers out there or whatever. They have their lights on their heads or whatever. But he's up in the corner.
Shock straps things were weird.
They had shock straps like it was a COVID thing. But he's up near that ship, was there, and they had kind of a downtown look that they had presented, kind of almost like it was a play. But, and considering the circumstances, I'm sure it was probably not very well liked.
Well, Craig and I talked about it earlier. So we both are big fans of The Weeknd. And part of the thing we like him is because he's got a real mellow, chill vibe to him when you listen to his music. Well, sometimes if that's most of his songs in a high-energy Super Bowl performance, it's not going to come up. Like, just comparing it to last year, which is Shakira and J.Lo, they're dance music.
They should have just ended halftime.
Yeah.
It was Shakira and J.Lo, like, if you had turned the audio off, I don't think anybody would have noticed because they were out there dancing, and, they're high energy, and there's all dancers around them, and there's all that going on. And with The Weeknd, he's, like, stumbling through, like the
he got stuck in this maze or whatever it was. I don't even know where that was.
The big meme now is, like, him, and now everybody's like, well, this is so-and-so searching for this or that, and that's become very popular. But no, I mean, I'm a fan of his regardless of what would have happened yesterday. It wasn't some people's cup of tea. I didn't think it was nearly as bad as some people made it out to be. But, I could see, like, if you weren't familiar with him, how that would have been like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, that's the Super Bowl halftime show, but I'm a fan.
I'll say this as well. 61 years old, even if the country at times is all screwed up, even if there's a lot of anger and hatred and, whoever against the world, every time I've ever been to a game, a Super Bowl game, and I've been fortunate to go to 25 or so, every single time, no matter who the president is, no matter the political strife, no matter if we're involved in any kind of war anywhere, no matter what, and when I'm at the game and I'm there, whether it's in the media auxiliary or in this case sitting in seats, and they start singing that song, whether I like the person singing it, their music, their whatever, Eric Church and Jasmine Sullivan, when that flyover, and I hear the drums playing, and when that flyover comes by, it gets me. Every single time. So I'm taping this because I don't know how much of a video you can send out. So as Craig knows, I'm taping this. And everything's fine. And I know the flyover's coming. And Eric starts shaking my shoulder. They're coming, and so my camera's doing this now. But I still was able to kind of catch it. And it gets me every time. For a lot of people that don't like it, don't respect it.
New ride savings event. It's stimulus and refund check time, and if the government gave you some of your money back, well, take it and multiply it with savings at Richard Car. You can find big savings like a 2018 GMC Sierra or a 2019 Buick Encore for $16,800. You can also look at an almost new 2020 Honda Civic for only $21,900. Payments on late model cars and trucks for under $200 a month for qualified buyers. They have hundreds of used cars and trucks priced to move during the New Year New Ride Savings event. You can get 0% for 72 months on a new 2021 Buick Encore with payments of just $318 a month and no money down, or get a money-saving lease on the stylish, intelligent, and nimble 2021 Buick Encore GX Preferred with on-the-go Alexa technology for only $293 a month. And during the New Year New Ride Savings event, all pre-owned cars and trucks are priced to move. Maybe your credit's not as bad as 2020. Well, the new year in 2021, again, 100% credit approval is their goal. So bring that tax refund or your stimulus check to Richard Car, and they will stimulate your stimulus with even bigger savings that will pay off for years. Go to Richard Car Motors today for details on a test drive, or log on to richardcar.com now and have them bring the test drive to you. Make 2021 the best year ever, starting with a new car or truck during the New Year New Ride Savings event at Richard Car.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Have you downloaded the SicEm365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
All right, as we mentioned, Pro Football Hall of Fame made some announcements over the weekend, as they always do on the eve of the Super Bowl. We know last year's event got blown up or was blown up because of COVID, and so then there was the carryover effect. We've had Drew Pearson on, who, of course, finally, officially is going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we're about to hear from Tom Flores, who we've had on before as one of our guests early on with SicEm365 Radio as well. So Craig, Charles Woodson, Calvin Johnson, they are first-time members, first-time ballot Hall of Famers. Oh, okay, thank you, Patrick. Oh, thank you. I had a package. It's weird the way mail is here. There's a mailbox, but we don't have a place where people can put the mail in front of our door because I don't think it would stay there very long, even though this seems like a nice place. So I had a package for myself. I don't know. It's in to SicEm365 Radio, so I'll see what that is. Is it ticking?
No.
Probably not. Good. All right. So your thoughts about who got in? Alan Faneca, Charles Woodson, Calvin Johnson, Peyton Manning, I think pretty much everybody that got in, you could make an argument that all of them is the first-time guys. Manny, you knew that was going to happen. Calvin Johnson, I wasn't sure about.
I was pretty confident in Calvin Johnson getting in. He just played for a bad team the majority of his career, but the numbers he put up were insane, and especially given that he cut his career short and still has all-timer type numbers, and not to mention the fact that there was really nobody that could, handle him one-on-one. I mean, he was the guy that you had to game plan for with Detroit. So, I mean, Alan Faneca, I'm not much of a judge of offensive line talent, so I couldn't tell you about what he does that's so great, but I know he was around the league for a long time, won a lot of, championships, and, was a part of some great Steelers teams. Yeah, I mean, that one, I just, what little general knowledge I have, I felt like Alan Faneca was probably somebody that was going to get in. And also, I mean, Calvin Johnson, I felt like that was a no-brainer that was going to happen. John Lynch, I wasn't so sure about. I wasn't completely sold on him, but I guess with it being in Tampa, maybe there's a little, Woodson, no-brainer. I mean, I kind of expected what we saw, quite frankly, and we had the hint that Drew Pearson was going to be going in, so that didn't come as much of a surprise. But, I thought it was a very solid class overall.
We have had Tom Flores on the show a couple of different times since we launched this new endeavor back on April the 6th. He's been great to be a part of what we do, and Tom Flores, a member of the upcoming class of 2021, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, now joins us. Tom, it's always a pleasure to have you. We appreciate you so much, the access you've given us. So even though you kind of knew, what was it like when you found out officially over the weekend?
It was actually I found out a week ago.
Okay.
They came out, knocked on my door here in Palm Springs in Indian Wells, and there's the big David Baker. And as soon as I saw him, he took up the whole door. I said, "Wow, it's happening! It's not too lost for words, but I was that day. Even my wife was a little bit lost for words. So we both were there, very giddy and tears in our eyes. And it was unlike anything. Even though you have a good idea it's happening, it's going to happen. Still, it's just the neatest feeling. It's just great. I mean, I'm overwhelmed a little bit right now, and but the worst part was I had to keep it a secret for a week.
Did you ever almost slip? I mean, did you get close to like, I can't say anything?
Well, yeah, because that's all anybody wanted to talk about. God, when are you going to find out? When are you going to find out? So, Saturday night they're going to announce it. Well, when? What time? And then what do you say? Oh, Jesus! Barb and I were going crazy, and we didn't even tell our kids until Friday, and then we had to threaten their lives to keep it secret. Not easy to do, but what it was the whole experience has been so neat. We just enjoyed it, and now the fun starts.
Since you retired from coaching, how often have you thought about the Hall of Fame? And did it get to a point where you had just kind of, put it all the way to the back of your mind and didn't?
Well, I did, especially when I came so close 2 years ago, and I was sitting there in Atlanta and nobody knocked on my door. And that was a huge, huge disappointment and a huge letdown when the wind came out of my sails, and I didn't realize I would react that way, but I did. So we were supposed to go to the game the next day, but instead we flew home. We flew back here and watched the game from here, and it was just I didn't expect to react that way, but I did. I said, "Oh God, I don't ever want to do that again." But this time it was so much different, and everything's different because of the virus anyway. So most things are by Zoom. I love Zoom. I'm becoming an expert on Zoom.
Yeah. Did your phone just blow up when the announcement became public?
The phone blew up, and with calls and texts, and then people wanted to come over, and then they wanted to do this and wanted to do that, and it was just, it's been neat. It's been fun. I'm not complaining about anything. And, in fact, I had a call Marcus Allen called me and the other day, and it was like 6:30 in the morning here, and he said, "Oh no," he thought he was going to leave me a message. He didn't know how to answer, and he thought, "Oh, I hope tell me you're not home. Tell me you're in Tampa. Tell me." No, I said, "I'm home." He said, "Oh, it's too early, Coach. I'm sorry." I said, "Marcus, it could have been 1 in the morning. Who cares?"
Yeah, and heck, sometimes since you're out on Pacific time, a lot of people probably text you and don't realize it's earlier there,
Yeah.
but at times maybe they even text you too early in the morning. It's like 5 o'clock for you.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I was my wife was up. She was up, and I wasn't up, but I was up early, and I tell you, it didn't matter. It just a great feeling. It doesn't happen to too many people, and it only happens once in a lifetime. So I'm going for it.
Well, you were able to break obviously thresholds, to break ground with what you did as well as a head coach. Won a Super Bowl as an assistant coach with the Raiders, part of that Super Bowl IV with the Chiefs as well. Did it make it even more special? You kind of alluded, but because of the long wait, because of the agonizing over it, and maybe sometimes you just said, okay, it's never going to happen. Did it make it, once you saw David Baker, even more special?
Well, I'd have to say probably yes. I didn't even think about it that way, but probably yes. I'm just a big sigh of relief and joy and happiness all at one time. That you start thinking about all these things and you just enjoy it. I said, "Oh man, this is so neat." You're sitting there smiling with a big grin on your face, and smiling and acting like a fool, but that's okay.
You got a pretty good little class around you too, Coach. I mean, Calvin Johnson, Peyton Manning, Drew Pearson, go on and on and on. What do you think about the group of guys that you'll be going into the hall with?
Great. It's an honor to go in. I saw and Charles Woodson, 2 Raiders going in at the same time. Yeah. That's pretty outstanding in itself. And talked to Charles yesterday as well, and I got a chance to meet all of them. We all were on the same time to say hello and congratulated each other. So it's a nice class. Calvin Johnson was always one of my favorite players. Played unfortunately for a bad team for so many years, but what a horse he was. That Peyton Manning goes without saying, and you can't beat what Charles Woodson. I was telling Charles, I said, "You love the Raiders so much that you came back after you left for a while." And he was laughing. I said, and so did I. I came back and spent the rest of my life with them. And so we're going to enjoy this. I'm enjoying it right now. I'm enjoying this ride. We're going to enjoy it all the way.
Well, you should, and it's well earned. I just saw this note. Our producer, Armstrong Sims, just shared this with me. On this date in 1979, you were actually named the head coach of the Oakland Raiders.
Oh, is that right? I'll be darned. I'll be darned. Well, I remember. I didn't remember it was this day, but I remember that when that happened, when Al named me the head coach. And, you making the announcement, some people going, "Oh." But, no, that was a great moment for me because, that was my team. I joined them in I was the very first quarterback with them, 1960.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody even knew where Oakland was. I had to tell them. And we were playing in San Francisco those first 2 years, and calling ourselves the Oakland Raiders without a stadium, and well, a lot of things have happened since then.
What when you think about getting in, what do you think Al would have said when he found out?
He would have been happy. He would have said something like, "It's about effing time."
Yeah,
you know how he was.
Yeah,
he had a pretty healthy vocabulary, and he wouldn't have held back at all. But he was because he was always in my corner. He was always in my corner. And at one time he said, "Maybe I'm the worst person in the world to be pushing you because they don't, they're very negative about me." And he in a way, Al took up the whole screen and it kind of left me in the dark sometimes because I was kind of forgotten person for quite a while because Al was so large. And
Tom,
you said Raiders, you always thought of Al Davis.
Yeah, you did. No, and I'm old enough at 61 years old to know that as well. You broke barriers, first time an Hispanic starting quarterback in the NFL, minority head coach to win Super Bowls. We saw a team yesterday in Tampa Bay with both the coordinators are African American. Also, on top of that, they have a couple of coaches on staff that are females. And we're seeing what is a push of more options. It's still not much better than it was even 10, 20, 30 years ago. But your thoughts about how you help break the barriers and where we are today when it comes to minority coaches?
Well, I'm very proud of what I've done. But I've always said, I didn't become a coach because I was a minority. Al didn't hire me because I was a Hispanic or Latino or whatever I am today. He hired me because he felt I could coach well. I played quarterback for him because he felt I could win games. Mm-hmm. And the fact that I was a Hispanic, had nothing to do with it. That was his decision. He hired me to win, and fortunately, I was able to do that. But having said that is one of the big topics nowadays, the minority part of it. And I'm really proud to be part of that movement, especially with all the minority people, the Hispanics that have come out and congratulated me and shown their interest. And I had one time, years back, I was in the south of down in the Texas area or something, and I went to make an appearance, and I ran into this kid who was saying, "My dad watched you win your first Super Bowl," and cried. And I looked at the kid. I said, "He cried? Why?" He said, "Because he was so proud." I didn't even know this kid, nor his dad. He was so proud that you were Hispanic, that your father was born in Mexico, and that he cried. And I said, "I'll be darned. I never thought about it that way, that anybody would ever do that." And that's when I really started thinking, this is bigger than me. This whole thing is bigger than me. And it makes me feel good.
Well, I'll relay this story, Coach. I mean, we cover Baylor football. That's our bread and butter. And head coach Dave Aranda, he is Hispanic. Grew up in. He mentioned that when you used to be on TV, he'd point to the TV and say, "There's one of us. That's one of us right there," and point at you. So there's a little connection to Baylor that I would pass along as well. That Dave Aranda was one of those people that grew up watching you and being inspired by you.
Well, you're right, and it's a motivating factor. And myself, when I look at it, a motivating factor for young guys to go into that field and then be proud of it, and knowing that, hey, why can't I do it? He's done it. Yeah.
So, do you get to work on a speech immediately, or how does that kind of play out?
Well, they always tell you to keep it down to 12 minutes, 15 minutes, or something. Nobody ever does, but I will start working on it piece by piece, and I have to figure out who's going to be the presenter. The presenters now, they always tape it ahead of time. That way they can control the length of it. So there are a lot of things they have to do between now and August when they have it. Assuming they have it the old-fashioned way, assuming that this COVID is under control by that time. But I hope that they do, so we can have the party.
Yeah, you've waited long enough. You should definitely be able to enjoy it. Tom, thank you very much. You're always so gracious to respond to me constantly bothering you about segments, and we appreciate you so much for being a part of the show.
Well, you guys, tonight when you have dinner, have a Coors Light on me.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate that. Tom Flores is going to be a member of the class of 2021 Hall of Fame. How cool is that? And they did record a lot of those, the ones where they found out with David Baker. We mentioned the Drew Pearson one was great as well.
Yeah, you think about this class, and it's, how some of these guys were just studs all the way through their whole life. Drew Pearson's kind of the story of, he was a quarterback and he might be the one who's a little more, out of nowhere. But, Tom Flores, player, coach, assistant coach, Super Bowls, what he did. Charles Woodson was never not the best player on the team he played on, really, in his whole life.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Same with Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning, same way. Really.
Really, yeah. I mean, he had some good players around him, but he was ultimately Peyton Manning, yeah.
All right, when we come back, Paul's 5 at 5:55. Armstrong and Rob are on the mothership today. We appreciate the time from our guests. We'll come back and wrap up who we had and who we will have. Coming up next, SicEm365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, I'm sure they did a little business before the Super Bowl yesterday. But look, if you are a craft beer fan and want variety and just want to try a bunch of different things, Riverbend Liquor and Wine has the best selection in Waco. They got a big walk-in fridge. You go in there, and you can just see all the different things they have rotated out seasonally. It's all great. They always have the latest balcones in stock. They always have kind of pretty much the latest of everything in stock. They always get different things, from different parts of the country for people to try, whether it's Nashville, Tennessee, or Seattle, Washington. There's somebody that comes in and brings them something new that you can try, and maybe that's in there. They also have a fantastic selection of wine. And look, if you're worried about COVID or anything like that, look, the store is clean, socially distanced, all that stuff. And the drive-thru window is as quick and efficient as anything you can imagine. Just go up, tell them what you want, and believe me, they'll have it lickety split, and you're on your way. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, you can find out more on Facebook and Instagram, or just pop by the store on Lakeshore Drive in North 19th Street here in Waco.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
Don's Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don's Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
Welcome back into SicEm365 Radio. It's time for Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55. Look, this one kind of worked itself.
You can't introduce your own segment?
I had to because you weren't sitting here.
I was trying to... Sam Carroll, who was a commitment to Baylor, right? His father sent me a lot of things he had received during the time he was being recruited. And it's a box of just a bunch of Baylor shirts, hoodies, and stuff like that. And I was trying to take care of it. So I'm going to find a family we can give that to. All right, go.
All right. So, look, it's the top 5. Tom Brady has been the Super Bowl MVP 5 times. So it kind of worked itself out. So in order of performance, his ranking them 5 different ways. So number 5, Super Bowl 36, which is his first one, he was 16 of 27 for 145 yards and a touchdown. And I remember there being some controversy as to this. Wasn't it like, didn't they say maybe like Corey Dillon or somebody could have gotten it as well? Yeah, this was his first one. Look, 16 of 27, 145 and a TD does not normally an MVP performance make. But that was the first win of the Patriots. And who knew it was going to set off this kind of Tom Brady dynasty. All right, Super Bowl, let's see.
Roman numerals.
Last night, 54. 21 of 29, 201 and 3 TDs. 55. I'm sorry, 55.
Yeah, L equals 50.
Yeah, 55. 55.
His quarterback rating was pretty good. I mean, that's a Tom Brady statistic that back in the early days of the Patriots, he didn't have to throw for 380 yards like he did against the Falcons that one year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could tell early on their run game was going to pop loose at some point. They were getting good yardage, and he missed on a couple of throws. But, I mean, shoot, man, Gronkowski's just so daggum reliable. It's amazing how big and just goofy he looks. Like, there's nothing fluid about him at all, but yet he just gets open. Like, he just gets open, and makes plays.
The first touchdown he had was such an easy little thing, but the second one, you should see the size of him compared to the guy draped on his legs.
He's so big and goofy, but like you just can't help but respect it because somehow it works, and it works always for Gronk. And yeah, I mean, Brady wasn't super flashy or anything. He did what he needed to do, though. I mean, he was efficient and made the throws that counted.
Yeah. All right, Super Bowl 38. He was 354 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Through the one,
is this Seattle?
I believe it was Houston.
No, against Seattle.
Against Seattle. Okay.
I don't know. Was it?
No, Carolina.
Okay,
Carolina.
All right.
All right. Number 2, which would be Super Bowl 49, and in that one, that was 37 of 50, 328 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks in that one, and of course the coup de grace, Super Bowl 51.
Jeez.
466 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, an interception, and of course the comeback that
28-3. Go to his stats for number 5. Do we still have that there, Armstrong? See, that's what he could do back in the day. He didn't have to. They would be fine like that. They almost he had a defense.
Well, their defense was fantastic that whole year.
Yeah.
And he was playing on a bit of a sprained ankle. But, and Drew Bledsoe mentioned that last week that Tom Brady sprained his ankle in the championship game, but he didn't get to play in the Super Bowl. Bledsoe didn't. So.
Yeah, and then never got to really play again after that, Drew Bledsoe, right? I mean, that was pretty much gone to the races after that.
Well, I mean, he came, and then he was with Buffalo, and then he was with Dallas.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as the Patriots, he was just pretty much done. And Brady took off from there. But, yeah, I mean, we've all heard the story of the 6th-round pick and all that, but, I mean, who else out there can put together? Charles Haley could, I guess. And how many did Dion play in ultimately? Not 5, I don't think.
San Francisco once, Dallas.
It wasn't even a lot then. No, I'm thinking for some reason he played in a handful.
Yeah.
He didn't. So, I mean, I know there's other guys, and there's probably backup linemen or D linemen we don't think about too that have probably played in multiples. But
Gail Gilbert was 0 for 5.
Yeah.
Garrett Gilbert's dad, because he lost all 4 as the third string quarterback of the Bills, and then went to the Chargers the next year, and that was. People complain about last night's Super Bowl.
Man, no.
They need to go back to that one where Steve Young and Jerry Rice just ripped apart Stan Humphries and the Chargers.
I get that it wasn't close and that we all just want a close game, but it was impressive what was being done. I know it wasn't entertaining for everybody out there who's hoping, especially the majority. The reason the Super Bowl ratings are so high is because so many casuals decide to watch for Super Bowl party reasons or for halftime entertainment or whatever the case may be. But no, I mean that was impressive to me, just how well they played on both sides of the ball. And yeah, I mean most people can't put together a top 5 maybe of their careers. He's got a top 5 of Super Bowl performances, and we're leaving some out. So that's how good he is. That's how great Tom Brady is. And shoot, if he plays a little while longer, and if not for Eli Manning, we'd be talking about 10. Talking about the chase for 10, if not for Eli and the Giants.
Before we
Mike Lodish and Ron Guskowski, the kicker,
6.
Both had played in 6.
Okay. So right before we go, this is a tweet from a guy named Cole Wright. Met the Super Bowl streaker at J. Alexander's restaurant while having lunch before leaving Tampa. He bet $50,000 on a prop bet plus $750 that there would be a streaker at the Super Bowl. His buddy went out first as a diversion, so he didn't get caught as quickly as his friend. Cost him $1,000 to get out of jail, so he cleared $374,000 on the bet.
Wow. Don't let the judge know that.
Yeah.
Don't let her know, him or her
too late now.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You could always, speaking of that, a good friend of mine called me today that said he had 1-6 in the squares game. It was 21-6, I think, or 1-9. He had 1-9. 1-6, I'm sorry. So he won the first half, won $20,000. And if the Chiefs would have scored at the end of the game, would they have kicked an extra point or gone for 2 because it was out of time? No. What could have cost him all of that had they scored and, let's say, gone for but he ended up winning. He won a bunch of money. Good for him. Glad for him.
They didn't score a touchdown. I have to believe, and I haven't seen it yet, but that had to be a prop bet somewhere that the Chiefs would not score a touchdown, or maybe it wasn't because it seemed so out of the realm of possibility that they just didn't even think to put that on the board. But, man, if you did put some money on that, I would imagine you cashed in, because that was just the most unlikely thing that could have occurred. And I do have one note before we go. Have to give a special shout out to one of our producers here for being a January champion of the month, Rob Solon.
What?
January champion of the month, yes, per Baylor, and means he's taking care of business on and off the field in the classroom. So congrats, Rob, on that, man.
Very good, man. Congratulations. Also, Joe Theismann, Steven, has responded to your question about business and clutch and playing. I'll send that to you directly on Twitter and also maybe by text. Rick Rhodes is one of the leading candidates to be the next head coach, where he won state championships at Yo. No one has officially said it's him. But you heard all my conversation about the Jeff Hume rumors, which were all just completely ridiculous. But Rick Rhodes, the leading candidate, and we will have him on tomorrow's show. And it's not just because we want to talk about life at 3:45 tomorrow, plus Mac Rhodes and a few others. For Paul, Catalina, Craig Smoak, Rob Solon, and the genius and Armstrong Sims, thank you for watching and listening. David Smoak, good night, SicEm365 Radio. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.